still not fully recovered of what was Vitality versus GX. But hey, a GX win's a GX win, and they did massively earn it with a star performance from Jackie.
Based on what happened yesterday, you wouldn't expect it to be a 3-0 result. No. Absolutely. But the truth is, I think based on the games yesterday, Giant X are heavy underdogs coming into this matchup. Especially if we contrast it to Saturday, where KC, their ability to build those early leads, it felt monstrous and very difficult to fight against. But the reality is, as the desk was saying, it feels like throw central here in the LEC.
And that's what I was going to say. If you contrast it to their regular season, I mean, it was Giant X who beat Karmine Corp in a somewhat similar manner to yesterday, where they were playing well in the mid-game. They found a bunch of fights. They were able to find the success. And not quite the same leads that Vitality had garnered, but still, it seems like Giant X have kind of started to put the boot down in the mid-game and say, this game's ours. So I think Karmine Corp definitely going to have to keep their eyes out for this Giant X that is improving a lot on some of the factors that were major issues this time last year.
Well, let's see how things pan out this time around. As we jump into draft, Orianna naturally going to be one of the highest priority. Cassio is something we've continued to see in the playoffs be first pick. Not really ban-worthy. Usually it makes its way through the draft in the very first round. We'll see if it makes it through this one. Rumble still a very high priority, especially with Kana on the Rift. And Jarvan, something worth considering, as both junglers do love to play that, with Vi being up there as well.
Okay, Anivia has to go as well. There's a lot of flexes
Ljudi moji, veliki pozdrav i dobrodošli. Evo nas u još jednom danu leca, a danas još jedan eliminacioni meč. Ne mogu vjerujem sam tu reč izgovorio da nisam failovo, ali vidjet ćemo šta će ovdje da se izdogađa. Gledamo KC i Giantse, Giantsi koji su iznenadili juče. Mislim da malo ko je očekivao da će oni uspjeti da prođu, ali eto. Stavljamo samo na Discordu. I onda možemo da uživamo u gameu. Ja više ne znam iskreno. Iskreno više ni ne znam ko dobija, ko ne dobija, ništa mi jasno nije.
We'll see what direction, because right now Casey's saying, wow, we could just get the Ezreal for ourselves.
But also they can get the Rumble for themselves. It's Kana we're talking about too.
Also true.
I mean, also, but will you give Rumble Jarvan? Such a good combo. They want Seraphine and KC instead.
But the thing is, you already guarantee yourself counter pick as KC with the side you're on, right? So I think at this stage, you're just happy to say we can hold off on Kana's pick and always opt in towards things like the Vayne, these kind of range top lanes if you really want to. So let's just try and solidify that strong bot lane that has been so successful for KC, and then we can try and work through it afterwards. Noah, hover in the Lucian here, see if you can just fight fire with fire, maybe.
Ooh, Mel Shen. Mel Shen.
Oh.
Mel Shen. Has to be their bot lane, right?
Može, Mel je fajn u Ivaši u Serafinu stvari.
I've definitely seen Mel AD carry over in the LCK.
I've seen Mel AD carry. Karsi played at one stage as well.
Yeah,
sure. But it's not as big. But I mean, it's something that does have a lot of range, can try and push out against.
But wasn't it you, Jake? Was it? Oh, it was.
Definitely me. It was something smart.
It was Jack that was telling me about the Mel over in the LCK the other day that had like 18 kills or something ridiculous.
Što mi hoće da radi?
In any case, this Shen, I have to imagine it's.
Vidi.
Is it good? But I mean, okay, we'll say it's a flex.
Bar je bio film dobar, ako ništa.
Producer in my ear saying that Noah has played Mel in solo queue.
Right.
So it is definitely something that he's been playing and practicing, but we'll have to see. The Shen, though, feels a little odd to me, because I wouldn't have expected it to be Jun Shen into this matchup, because like oftentimes Shen kind of gets a lot of value more so when you can engage and then block away some of the damage the auto attacks coming through, but that's not exactly something that you're going to see here.
I mean, I think back to On first.
Mislim, u teoriji mogu da im zašto Mel radi, jer Serafin je botlane koji funkcioniše tako što samo double ultaš. A ti realno ako vratiš šeš ulti, pogodiš šeš ili Serafin, ti si vino taj fight. Jer ni Jaš ni Serafin ne mogu da istenkaju brst od full rotaciju od Mel. Ne, ja mislim da je legit, ja mislim da je u stvari legit counterpick. Do levela 6 možda bouncuje šeš W nazad. Ne, ovo je decent, ovo je decent. Ako to rade, decent je. I otvara i mogućnost da igraju, mislim sad ako je Shen support mogu da igraju range top. I to će također da radi.
for now. I wonder, do they go in multiple directions, or do they commit to the fact they think this melt is definitely going bot into the Ash? They say, yeah, the matchup's good enough, and the Annie's going to go away as well. So I guess we are probably expecting to see that melt bot after all, as usually after the Vayne, Gnar ban follows. We get another top laner.
Yeah, they have been banning Gnar a lot, and it's kind of been a point of conversation, especially yesterday, because it felt like that GX would have loved to have slammed a blind Gnar, but similar to
Vayne ban, Jace ban, Varus ban. Ti nemaš više top lanera koji su jole kršteni, zar ne? Mislim range top lanera koji su kršteni. Osim ako ne igraš ADTF-a, ali nisam baš siguran.
So for now they're going to remove the Jace, another big comfort pick for Kana. So what direction do KC go in? Jungle is the obvious direction right now. They've got a ton of options. All the junglers are open. There's Vi, Pantheon, Wukong, Xin. They can go in any direction that they want.
I mean, anything lines up nicely with Seraphine as well,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Remember that Gnar wasn't banned, it was Jace instead, where Jace seems like the options that people ban away when you want to pick the Gnar. So what does Lot have that can cook this pick? Because you're not going to blind Renegade into it. Not blind, you're not going to pick Renegade.
Blind, što blind? Malphite.
I think that, like, yes, it's a great matchup.
Malphite.
And I think they're just hovering it for now. It is considered a counter pick, but we saw it.
Mogu da igraju Realiju. Mislim, kažem, ako igraju Mel bot, AD top. Nemaju, Lotte već si grifo. A dobro, realno šta, prošli put su ga iznali na Olafu, što ga ne bi iznali opet. Respekt za Lota, Lot je odlučio samo da ga iznesu. U fazonu je ništa me ne zanima. Nosite me sa igrači.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I know over in the LPL, I think it was WE, were actually playing the Shen top Olaf jungle, and actually had a great time with it because you could just like run people down, especially the Olaf. So it's definitely something that works. I'm just scared for the Shen in the support role because you've got two long-range AD carries on the opposite side, which can be very tough to try and close the distance on unless you use the like taunt flash combo. And already like you're going to take a lot of.
Ali moram da priznam, nijedan draft mi se ne sviđa.
I think it's going to be a rough time for Jun in the bottom lane, but I think it will get a ton of value later on when you do have a lot of things that are just trying to jump in onto that back.
I actually really don't agree with Vi into this draft.
Yeah.
So, for those that don't know, over in the LCS, Griffin, the jungler for FlyQuest, he uses Shen as a counter pick to Vi, right? He's talked a bunch about it on social media, and the main reason is all of Vi's damage, auto attacks, and when she ults, Shen just ults that time.
Mislim, Mel mi se sviđa.
In the jungle position, that's why it's used, but it still functions in a similar role in support. Sure, maybe the shield isn't as big because you don't get as many levels, you don't get as much resources on the Shen, but the idea is still the same. That, you know the name of the ability, it's the Spirit's Refuge.
Oh, Spirit's Refuge, you should look at Robbie, he actually always knows it.
And it's, the Spirit's Refuge prevents Vi from literally doing any damage with her autos, and the ultimate is still going to protect whatever target Vi tries to lock down. So I don't love the pick from KC, but as a draft on paper, this is very KC, right?
KC, slažem se. KC ima KC draft, to je fair. To je skroz fair.
It's GX that have brought a lot of creativity into this draft with a lot of range. Azir plus Mel, you've got a ton of poke, a ton of backline threat that can hit you from afar. The question is this going to be enough to contest against the more traditional draft we got from KC?
Yeah, it does feel a little awkward though, where it's like Olaf, Jarvan, Shen want to kind of go in, whereas Mel and Azir kind of want to try and keep that distance, so it does feel a little awkward in my eyes, but we'll have to see how this one's going to plan out as we start to get in towards game one of the day.
Remember, this game one, this only best of 5 you'll see here tonight on a Monday night is elimination. Loser goes home, no chance at MSI, no run through the lower bracket. Winner goes on to verse MKOI. And a lot of the fans expecting it's going to be KC that run against MKOI again for another grudge match, another Ebai versus Komedo shenanigan. We don't know at this point. I mean, GX are a bit of a surprise, but also that is because yesterday, and to take credit away from them, our first seed got knocked down 3-0 against them.
No, I mean, let's just be honest, okay?
I always am.
You have the gold graphs for us.
Would you like to see it?
Yeah, so let's show the audience at home those gold graphs. Because GX's early game, it was rough, okay? And so the orange line versus Vitality is the early games of GX, and you can see how it was struggling. It was bad, right? They fell behind a lot, and the way they came back was punishing the mistakes of Vitality. Vitality was super over-eager. They made way too many aggressive plays. Lot's going to commit his ghost to this. I don't think he has any real kill threat. But the whole point, if you contrast that to KC, their early games were spectacular, right? They were able to get early leads, they held on to those leads, and game 4 was, sorry, they did end up losing.
Yes.
Yeah, they did end up losing a game, even with a lead, but their ability to build those early leads was extremely consistent in their first series against Na'Vi.
Yeah, and I think that's why I kind of like coming into this. I'm looking at KC to see if
Ok, Ashe Seraphine su jako dobri jako dugo, tako da to nije ništa novo. Veći je problem bio što generalno ljudi nisu mogli da nađu counter za Ashe Seraphine i to je uvek bilo forsirano na početku svaki game.
I assume Mel is just going to be fine to, after a couple of items, just continue to clear out this bottom side. But for the moment, this is painful. But if you can eventually get to that point, it's really hard to dive the Mel because she's got the reflect, especially for like Seraphine and Ashe. And then Shen can roam around the map and have his level 6 to try and get back towards Null if needs be. So maybe it just becomes Jun basically playing River Shen for a bit. Yeah. Could be the idea here.
Now, yesterday, Vitality put a lot of pressure onto Lot. They ganked him repeatedly, they isolated him from jungle support, they made his life very miserable in his Olaf game. He was able to bounce back in the team fights later on, the Olaf providing a lot of value in terms of making it difficult for the opposition to play. And in a similar vein here, the Olaf, if he has a pretty standard laning phase, doesn't fall too far behind the Gnar, then he's just going to run that Ashe down. The Seraphine is mainly going to be healing as much as possible so that it becomes this war of attrition as to who can actually win out. But this, in the mid game especially, that Ashe is going to have a really rough time.
Razmišljam ako KC uhvati neki momentum i uspoje stompaju jedan game, mislim da će baš da iznenade Giants i da će da ih stompaju. Mislim, ja nekako i dalje vidim da je KC ogroman favorit ovde, ali očigledno ja šta god kola mora obrnuto se dogodi, tako da više ne znam ni da li je fair s moje strane da kolam da ne bi jinxovo neku ekipu.
Yeah, he's still playing Guess Who or something. He decided to flip that button down. So, yeah, no flash mid. And Jackie's was in full side of it, so pings must be going down. I wonder if Isma can punish.
But yeah, he just
completely yet sad as Isma's enemy jungle.
Yeah, you're right. He just completely misclicked. I think he was trying to put a ward down.
Isma here. Not much help that can come across, though.
The flag and drag, maybe at the tip, just to find this.
Just a steal?
Yeah. Vedius was watching back the flash again if you're wondering why he's laughing.
Yeah, he just put a ward down, flashed.
As you do.
This is... Well, I suppose Yehu's super low in the mid lane, so Jackie's trading well.
Guess what? He's got no flash, he's level 5. Isma flag and drag dead. If he had flash, would it make a difference? I don't know. But as Isma uses his own, he gets out and first blood goes to GX.
I mean, it definitely would have made a difference. He would have been able to survive. Yike might be able to get the kill on the other side, though.
Looks for that Q, or rather auto attack. Flag and drag out from Isma. He burns his flash before. Yike burned his flash then. Flash for junglers, but Isma survives.
Great play from Jackie's in the mid lane, though, because as Isma went for the invade, Jackie's immediately hard traded in the mid to guess Kiehu as low as possible. And then a follow-up immediately from Isma. So nicely done by Giant X, because I was going to say, Isma's wasted a lot of time here to not get much, but gets the first blood.
Getting getting Azir ahead early is also fantastic for the matchup. Azir often struggles to always gain push against the Rise. Usually early on he can help get that priority. His wave clear is a little bit faster. But as soon as you get that Nash's Tooth, your wave clear improves significantly for the Azir. So the quicker you get it, the faster you can match that Rise. And also it just becomes harder for him to roam. We can see Yehu on that first roam of the game. Hovering around top lane, doesn't have the level 6 though. Will they still threaten to dive? I mean, Yike is here as well.
3 people might be enough, especially without Ragnarok available. XP bar, Lot needs a minion, gets it. Now he's going to be invulnerable. This is a problem. You said Isma's coming in. He pops the ulti straight away. Has to survive. A lot of damage down, though. And the shield as well. It's enough. The flash under, though. He's got one. And he's running out. Lot's done his job. Yike drops to Isma as well.
Holy.
Don't dive an Olaf when he can negate.
Dobro, mislim, malo je grif od KC-a da se ne lažemo, ali opet.
A huge turnaround for Giant X. That's 3 kills already.
I mean, GX is just punishing the mistakes of KC. It is a rerun of yesterday, where KC is trying to make stuff happen on the map, and GX is simply shutting it down. They punish the flashless mid laner. Let's get a replay of that top lane play if we can, because, I mean, I like the idea. They want to mimic what Vitality did. Shut this Olaf down, make it hard for him in the mid game. It's going to be harder and harder for him to play in the late game. And so if you can get him behind early, that's fantastic.
I sad Casey traži pauzu u fazone. Guys, chrono break. Da, chrono break. Pitate se zašto? Ko zna ljudi moji, ko zna? Takva to situacija bude.
Already, I think Giant X are in a fantastic spot going forward in this game.
It just feels like, you know, when we first got more and more Cassantes and we got more Psalm with more health in the meta, and people kept diving these tanks, and you're like, oh, I don't know how this one's going to go. Seeing an Olaf hit 6, I think I'd be like, yo, let's call the dive off. But KC, big mistake, big blunder, topside giving over 2 more kills. I'm looking at the grey screen right now. It's 1,500 gold lead for GX.
There's added insult to injury because during that roam, I mean, Rise, remember, what had happened is he dies, he comes back to mid, pushes out the wave, Jackie's is basing, getting his gold, right? Then Yehu roams top, they coordinate this dive, so Jackie's comes back to mid, clears out the wave, and now Yehu, attempting his dive top, only level 5, gets nothing off of it, 2 of his teammates die, he then goes back to base, still level 5, meanwhile Jackie's is now, I think 2 waves up, I see it's 43 to 51 is the CS difference. So,
and he got a place.
Yeah, so it really is just insult to injury right now.
And by the way, just quick note on why we're paused, the studio lights were too bright. So some of the players have, I believe, KC side.
Znači oni su failovali su dive i bili su u fazonu, znate šta, sijalice su previše sjajne. Zato smo failovali dive. Mi krenuli da ga dive-ovamo, međutim sijalica, razumete? I onda šta da radimo, nismo mi krivi. Mislim, ipak je na kraju dana sijalica je na previše lumena podešena bila. Ali to mi se čini da je jedan od onih stvari koje kao bukvalno im nisu smetale i nakon što im se dive odbio glavu, bili su u fazonu sijalica.
Giving a bit of context on the map state, of course, the top lane dive did just happen. Isma so far is 100% KP. Level 5 on the Jarvan has been involved in every single kill that's happened on the Rift. He is very accelerated right now with a 600 gold lead individually, a 500 gold lead top lane, a 600 gold lead in the mid lane. Things are looking up for GX as they have a 1.5k advantage across the board. And the Mel, a little bit behind, of course, as we kind of expected based on the lane matchup. But overall, I think that the Mel, kind of similar to Ziggs in some ways, in how I think that you kind of just wait to get that lost chapter item before you can really start actually contesting the wave. You need levels first in your queue before you really actually start having that wave clear available to you. So, yeah, I think Noah's quite happy to sit and be behind, especially seeing his top laner just get...
Desi deki pospos.
Good job, guys.
Whatever, I'm doing my job. You know, I remember the other day watching a Mel, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was Pays, right?
I want to say it was Pays for T1, yeah.
And it was the 18 and 2.
EMEA počinje tačno za 7 dana.
Yeah, disgusting game.
I didn't actually watch that game. Jack just told me about it. He said it was one of the most disgusting games he'd seen in a while.
Znači, počinje u ponedeljak za tačno 7 dana. I onda gledamo EMEA-u, navijamo za naše.
I've just been given an update, by the way. We have an in-game camera. It wasn't able to be moved after the pause. It's a known bug in the client. So the client has been restarted. We are resuming now. So again, reiteration, it's moved after a pause, but it is a known bug with the client camera.
So he's hoping that fixes it. I can see the countdowns, probably just doing a quick unpause to see if everything's ready. And given the players are moving, it looks like we are good to go.
Oh, we're back, okay. And pause. No, okay, we fixed it, we're done. We're through, Dragon's going to start, Yeti's going to...
Dobro je da su rešili sve svakako.
Remember what Vetti's point was in the pause? It's a 10 CS lead through mid. It's Jackie's being able to get the plate. It's Jackie's all-inning on a rise. He has no flash. Flash Shadow Dash as well. Yehu tries to get out with the realm wall, but he's dead. Punishing the rise flash. I mean, Yehu's died twice now because he burnt that flash as a mistake.
So, he dies in mid lane. He pushes mid.
Sad će bude svetlo previše žuto. Znam ja. Znam ja kako to radi. Sad ćete vi da vidite pauzicu, ništa se vi ne brinite. Mada i Casey je poznat po tome da čokaju u play-offu, tako da... Vitality što se raspao, ajde, ali...
I mean, Jackie's is in a fantastic position, and we only have to look at yesterday to remind ourselves of how strong of a performance Jackie's had. He was popping off in the series versus Vitality.
Oh, you'd love to see some stats, wouldn't you, Betty? Get ready.
I mean, as even the last time these two teams faced up, Jackie's was incredibly impressive. His RE, his charms were incredibly clutch, especially in that game 3, to get Giant X across the finish line. And I really do think he's stepping up to be the player that was kind of promised. I mean, you were joking about it yesterday, saying he was the algorithm kid, but in a lot of ways, like, he was a promised up-and-coming star, and we're finally getting to see that. It feels like coming to fruition this split.
Absolutely, very much agree. Well, the first Dragon of the game did go over to KC, so small win for them here in the early game, as things in the middle lane seem to be going down at the top side of the map, really. On the roam, once again, for Jun. Let's see what he can make happen.
This may be. Arrow's going to land from downtown. Busio launches a bit of damage, but can't really follow up too much on Yikes, so commitment pulled back here from KC. Arrow now down, gives a bit of leverage here to the side of GX as well. As Meganar used by Kana, or rather just the transform. Still holds on to the ulti. Lot takes a bit of damage, but this is comfort zone for Olaf, sitting around half HP.
Yeah, Lot is basically trying to bait a little bit for Kana to go in, because Jun is sitting very close to level 6. He's on that mid wave trying to just hit it now, so I think the call was, hey, can we try and get this level 6 for Jun and have that all in on the top side, but not going to be the case. Kana just playing enough to push Lot back, but not looking for the all-in.
This is level 5, but Jackie's already used his commit. I mean, saying that, he does have his ulti back up and available again. Jun did burn his flash with the Shadow Dash, so the engage to close the gap won't be there. Busio just tags him off while Jun stands his ground and adds a bit of pressure to the KC bottom lane here. Grubs are up, that's the next focus, while Isma's...
Ide, ako Giantsi dođu u top 2, čoveče. Mi Giantsi odu na MSI. Koliko bi to random bilo?
It has been a very successful early game for the red side.
Absolutely. Jack should be very happy.
To bi iskreno bilo beyond random.
As a reminder, like we brought up that early game graph at the start of the game to represent how GX struggled to find those early leads against Vitality yesterday, and KC were very consistent at finding early leads against Na'Vi, but so far GX have punished the mistakes of KC, and they've been able to turn plays around. So let's see how they can continue this pace. Dragon is still 2 minutes away. In terms of early ganks, they don't have a ton of options, especially with pretty much all the summoners on the side of KC available. Kallis Arrow is just now coming off cooldown, so KC could consider looking for a pick.
Ti, Kevine, baš veruješ u koji. Fair. Mislim, ja toliko ne verujem u Giantse da sam u fazonu bilo bi smešno da odu na MSI. Kao, toliko ne verujem se dogodi da ne... Jer stvarno nisu bili favoriti uopšte, mislim. Čak kad pogledamo ligaški deo i njihovo istorijsko čokovanje, koliko samo ne znaju šta radi jednom kada partija ode u 15 minuta plus. Mislim, i dalje te isti problem možda im se dogodi i protiv KC-a.
From Yehu, we talked about the flash, I criticized it a little bit, but it has been a domino effect through the mid lane that has set Jackie's up for success. And we already talked about his success even yesterday. It is nice to see again this mid laner reaching new limits, especially against the mid laner who, while has been challenged in the regular season, still had a very good series too up against Na'Vi.
Now on the roam top. But I think Kana's way too safe. He has the Meganar coming up soon as well.
Pretty good though. Ghost is going to be popped. Underdog going to connect. Stand United coming in here. Isma's going to get some backup. Flag and drag. Jun not in range though. Big commitment here of the Shen ulti. And now Khalid's going to take that advantage onto Noah. Tries to send it. It might just do so. Lethal tempo up and available. In comes Yike. Yes, rebuttal. Yes, sending out the golden eclipse. But now Noah has next to nothing. That soul snare better be perfect. But as he finds Yike, Yike finds him with the flash first. Fist into the wall. Noah's dead. And good punish from KC.
Big mistake from Giant X. You just talked about the snowball effect as Kana. Actually, does he fall?
Maybe. Meganar not up and available. Ragnarok going to come on in. Flag and Dragon. The Shadow Dash. Jun though. It's going to be a trade. He was indeed hit by Kana, so it's a solo kill to the KC top laner. And a trade up for KC.
Okay, KC, vraćaju ga.
The first play meant that KC could go for the dive on bot because Jun could no longer cover for Noah. So good answer from KC. And then getting one back on the subsequent dive as well. Not the end of the road for Kana.
Arrow going to attempt to go into the middle lane. Won't quite
Fair. Ja poštujem verovanje Kevina, iskreno. Kako sam ja verovao u Magazu i eto vidiš. Magaza stigla do EMEA Mastera. Iako su bili ekipa koja realno na papiru nema šanse dođe do EMEA Mastera, pored svih imena koje smo videli na EBL. Braća moja, Ja dan danas ne znam kako je Magaz otišao na EMEA Master, pored svih timova i igrača koje smo vidjeli od DBL-a. Meni je to misterija. Ali eto, za 7 dana i gledamo na EMEA Masteru, pa ti vidi.
Stride breaker, that's the upgrade here from Lock against a ranged top lane. It always feels good melee when you're able to close the gap and stick on top of your opponent. Use the hop out, does he not have it for the 10 seconds? Who knows? But so far, Lot doing good in the trades as he's cresting upon 1,000 gold lead himself. As Lucio gets a solo snare, golden eclipse, free kill. He decided to go traveling through the jungle and the jungle fought back.
I don't think he's expecting and basically anyone to be there. They spotted Isma on that top side and was like, oh great, I can go for the invade. Jun has kind of been roaming around hand in hand with Isma, so taking a bit of a risk, and it comes back to bite him.
I think the flash was unnecessary by Jun.
I
don't blame him for doing it to just secure that kill, but you can really start to see the damage coming through from Noah now. With the Luden's Echo completed, he is hitting like a truck, and finding that pick reduces that gold gap that exists between the two AD carry players. And yeah, I mean, GX still in a solid position here. I expect this Herald to be a big point of contention for them. If they can use it, they can maybe break open that mid-tier 1, which Jackies has already done a fantastic job of chipping away at. It's very, very low. He's been doing superbly in this 1v1 matchup with the 20 CS lead of his own. The Nash's Tooth completed a while ago, already working towards what I imagine will be a rocket belt, as we often see on Azir's second.
Kakav je format u plane-u? Koliko sam ja razumeo, sad opet kažem, Riot je malo nedefinisan s tim stvarima, ali mislim da se igra Swiss best of 1, trebaš pobediti 3 da prođeš dalje. Tako sam ja razumeo, tako sam ja razumeo razvoj. Znači, trebaš pobediti 3 best of 1 da bi pardon, da bi prošao dalje. Što znači će vjerojatno biti ono winners, losers, kako to već funkcioniše. Sad uzet ću obzir da imamo dvije ekipe iz Francuske, to je jednu Francuske, jednu iz Nemačke. To znači da imamo dve jako teške ekipe u play-inu. Mimo toga svi ostali bi trebali da budu hard winnable, čak i za Magazu, a pogotovo za Partizan.
Lock can pick, but Khan is obviously the real target. Waiting over the wall, Stride Breaker gets him. Khan thinking about where he can hop to. He finally gets over the wall, but Stan United being committed. Lock flashes in to give the Shen an angle, but Shadow Dash doesn't connect. Meganard buys some time. It's a whiff from GX. Yes, Kana. He gets the trade in the end as he dies, but Kaliss now free firing. He's managed to get the hell out of dodge, and it could have gone a lot worse for GX, but a 1-for-1 is how to end.
What a commitment from GX in a 3 versus 4, but they turn it into a 1-for-1. I am very impressed that they were able to make that work. It felt like such an over-ambitious play, but they end up making the magic happen. And it starts with Lots leveraging the fog of war, catches Kana off guard. They should have seen the TP coming, but this flash, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't end up getting much off the back of it. And then, as you say, the Shen not being able to follow up with the Shadow Dash really put a bit of a dent in the works now. At least they do end up trading 1-for-1, and they get control over mid, so should be able to get this tower in this push as well.
They also get Shenel. I mean, I will say, Shenel, though, a minute 30 till Drake. Jun doesn't have that versatility. Shenel early is like 2 minutes something.
Gdje je George G za tako? A, vrati. Od uvek sam volao njihove bananice. Znao sam da će tu biti potencijala u nekom trenutku.
I like you mentioning Ultimate Hunter at the very least to be the assumption there, because 4 assists already. I see it half the way on the cooldown, so yeah, it is a lot quicker than you'd think at this point in the game. Without anything of the sort. GX going to start the Herald for now, though, talking about objectives. This would be the second objective of the game outside of turrets for GX, outside of the grubs, of course. But 45 seconds for Drake is the big one here. And we'll see how Herald gets used to make leverage on this map. Because GX already opened up all the way through top up to the inhibitor turret. Mid's already gone too. They've done their due diligence, and that Herald has a bit of expectation to find an inner turret. Or at least open that bot so all outers are down.
I've just done a quick check-in on Yehu, and our observers are doing the same thing. He's only half a level down now compared to the full level he was down earlier, but the Rod of Ages is only at 2 stacks. He is going to complete that at around 25 minutes into the game. which is quite late.
At least he'll get level 18 or something, you know?
I mean, it will probably tick him over to something like level 16, maybe 15, something around there.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's still going to be valuable, but right now the Dragon is the focus. Rise is not the strongest, whereas I feel GX should feel pretty confident to take this fight, and they will be the ones to start this Dragon off.
Yeah, I think GiantX in a very strong position here. Kind of just going to look like go for top tower instead. So, KC just going to play the map. No, they're probably not in position with 2 items on Olaf and that kind of stuff to actually threaten this. So
Da, ja ti kažem, znači nevjerovatno, bukvalno ono šansa se tako nešto dogodi, nerealna, brate.
Glide in and out, he's smooth, but I think too smooth. The rebuttal's good for the enchanter across the arrow. Almost gets yiked, but there's a Ragnarok. Olaf on Kalissa's head, and he ain't being challenged. A Realm Warp to Gellin out, love to stand. Hits a bit and almost kills Yahoo as well. Can't TP's down, but he has no Meganar. This guy can only auto-attack as his ear soldiers are out. A Solar Slayer to slow the play down, and a Vault Breaker to the left. Yike doesn't know whether he wants to go in or out here as so far. It's a 1-for-1 again, but with Dragon, with the turret. It's a GX trade, it's flag and drag. Cataclysm with the Vi that just used Q. Shen's gonna Shadow Dash in. A Solar Snare. I don't know what Yike's doing, and I don't know if he does either.
KC don't know what they're doing. Yahoo reset. There was nobody to follow up on that. And I think the idea was, hang on, GiantX don't have a lot of consistent DPS as long as Olaf is gone. But that doesn't matter if you're just solo.
It was a nice idea from Jackie's, but a better sidestep from Yahoo as he avoids the engage. Good rebuttal on the Ash arrow, just sends it back into the team. And this is what Olaf wants to do. Find Kalist, shut him down, make it impossible for him to play the game. They do end up trading a kill back. He doesn't quite have the durability to survive it. But as GX is disengaging, they get the tower, they trade 1-for-1, they're pretty happy with this. Yike is trying to keep them interested in the fight, but he ends up getting caught himself. Finds himself isolated, hands a kill over to Noah, and GX extend the kill lead to 9-4.
Well, GX in a fantastic position in this early game. Our team that everyone came in with underdog expectations. But so far, the early game has been unequivocally blissful, really. You know, I think so far GX fans are cheering because you're looking at an early game where, in relation to yesterday, is 1,000 times better. When Vitality want them 3 times in a row in all early games, despite losing out on the game. Now Vakana about to go into Meganar. Jun against the wall, gets smacked. Kana flash back in for another double stun. The top lane hero sets up KC for the dunk.
An important shutdown is secured for Yahoo as KC finds 2. The Baron is spawning very soon, but I don't think that's a play that KC is considering. They'll take the 2 kills.
Koliko napetija partija nego što bi trebala da bude. Koliko napetija partija nego što bi realno trebala da bude.
Now we have to remind ourselves that when they met during the regular season, when they met at Madrid, it was a situation where GX were very good at getting that early lead, but in game 1 they did throw it. They threw it away against KC, and as we know, the LEC is closer to a basketball court right now with the sheer amount of throwing that's been going on.
Baseball, NFL, you can kind of
There's
put it
been a lot of passing. The ball has been passed.
No, it's you. It's just we're really polite here. Right. It's like, no, you take it. It's
well,
okay.
Baron is being started. GX are taking the ultimate risk as the objective is started.
Yike has an angle from the back of the pit. Now, Smite is available for both. If this comes down to a 50-50, we might lull a little bit, but then rather wonder where it went wrong. Flag and drag, seeing Yike all in the flag. Run away from the flash from Jackies was disgusting. Yeah, who gets the free?
I ovo je onaj Giants na koji smo se navikli, jeli? Znači, bit će dobro do tipa 15 i onda će posle samo se pogube na mapi.
But I tell you one thing, we're getting sloppy on the court again.
These Emperor's divides are not it from Jackies. They have cost GiantX, and now KC are starting to pick up this gold. And what had started off with GiantX looking so strong has now disappeared.
You guys seen Like Mike as a kid? It's just like if Azir just didn't have the magic shoes. You know, right now he's looking like Mike without.
He's going to go for the slam dunk. Isma's the one that sets it up, connects the EQ, doesn't quite find the knockup, but he ults, and then Jackies doesn't quite get the ulti. Then he tries to flash as quickly as possible, gets rooted in place, flashes into a wall, hands a kill over to KC. They stop the Baron. They realize that going for the Baron themselves would just be a risk.
Just take the control first. I don't want to do that shit.
I mean, very fair.
I mean, I agree. Take the control first. It didn't look like that was an Isma play. It was Noah that actually started that off. I want to say it was with Jackies. Forcing the Baron was incredibly risky, but now the Dragon on its way to return to the Rift. And KC, I mean, they're feeling a lot more confident now with 2 items being completed across the board. That Rod of Ages getting closer to being finished for Yahoo. And what was a big gap between the 2 mid laners has now shrunk significantly.
And now for KC, I think you're much happier, as you say, with the state of things. You're already seen the 2 items completed basically across the board. And now you've got an opportunity to try and be in a position to force fights around this next Dragon if you want to. Or, because Khan has now got control of that top end, you can actually start to threaten some of these other turrets. It just gives KC so much more of a leg up towards the rest of this game. Now, GiantX still first on Dragon. No one really on KC to be seen.
I think they've agreed that because they're 2 dragons to 1, they can just concede this one.
I agree. It's just I was more expecting that I'd see Noah and Kalista and Lucio move up towards that top side, meet with Kana on the wave, and try and put pressure into tier 2 or trade something on the map. Because at the moment they're not really getting anything. Right?
It seems like their focus is very much just stealing away whatever camps they can get. You can see Kana taking away these Krugs in the top lane. They got the push out in mid. They've got a bit of vision as well, littered around the top side jungle, just a little bit to give them that information. And it seems very much that, all right, we're close to X, we're close to Y. Let's just focus on getting whatever farm we can. Let's not overextend. And they're not really giving GX any room to find a play anywhere on the map. Yahoo is shadowing behind Lot.
Pings are getting spammed by both teams. It's GX trying to find a play through mid and Lot thinking about walking up. It's KC pinging bot lane as Khan is going to probably try and stop the back here. Lot does cancel it himself though as GX are hovering in fog of war to see if Bucio would step up.
Jako spora partija i dalje. 23. minut.
Push and pull around this barren side of the map. With GX having a bit more control for now, but again, KC not really fretting. They have calmed the game down quite a bit. And especially since getting those picks, they've been able to slow it down a lot. Where GX
A nisam nešto strašno impresioniran s tim što radi ekipa KC-a također. Previše su pali behind za ono što očekujemo od njih.
Flag and drag, knocks him up, good damage so far. Lots undertow needs to connect, gets strike breaker first. There's the hop into Ragnarok, he flashes over, doesn't give Kana a chance. Arrow's gonna fly through, doesn't do a thing as GX do commit a TP as well.
What?
Jackie's just wanted to be part of the show, man.
They committed 2 TPs?
Yeah, Jun's ulti and Jackie's.
That was unnecessary.
So now they've got to walk.
Yes. Yeah, okay, so a little bit too eager to involve themselves
That's
in the
like
action.
the business definition of this meeting could have been an email. Everyone's called in, it's like, oh, he's dead, sorry.
Guys, we didn't need to all be here.
But it was mandatory for GX. Baron still the thought. KC puts the vision down before getting forced out of the area. Kana's up in 10. There's the all-in. Jackie's does get the flash this time. That was probably his best Emperor's Divide as Bucio uses a summoner.
We'll be happy with that one, but now unavailable. Can KC try to punish this window? Looks like Yeti is looking for something. Ground walk TP.
Okay, bringing in the cavalry with the minions as well. Yeah, who has an angle? Noah. Is he going to be found? He is. He's going to be flash cease and desist. No chance. KC get the bottom laner. Noah caught napping, and Baron now exposed.
That is an easy start for KC.
Yeah, they were basically punishing the fact that Olaf was on bot side. Knew there was a numbers advantage for KC. Now, Canis may get the steal.
TP.
KC pulling off.
He's TPing on a ward though. He Ragnaroks, he sprints at everyone. Lot on Bucio. Will find him. Encore doesn't affect him. Wait, single-handedly. Lot now onto Yike.
Ja, ako oni dobiju zašto Lot igra Olafa, to je zabrinjavajuće.
GX, but KC still went out. Low health bars, but not low enough to stop this Baron part 2.
KC punished the positioning of GX beautifully. It's Noah that gets caught out initially. A lot of the damage disappears, and then they force GX into a difficult decision. They then navigate the fight, leveraging their range, leveraging their CC, and they pick GX apart.
Yeah, you can see as this fight ends up coming through here. So immediately you get the Ragnarok. Kana does a great job of getting them smacked into the wall. And yeah, who's just in a good spot to follow up on a lot of the damage. Jackie does a really good job of dodging here. Dodge with the flash, the rocket belts, and then sidestepping Kana. But it's just not enough. KC in a really solid position. And Yahoo being able to flash away at the end, keeping himself alive, means they've enough to finish.
Let me create space for you. They can legit do nothing to me. Like,
Okej, veruje. Mislim u teoriji nije da nije istina, jak je dosta, ali...
instead he chose to take the easier kill in Busio, who had no flash available. Kalist then, though, left a free hit at the end of that fight, was able to find the outplay. But now it's Casey with the Baron. And it's a situation very reminiscent of what we saw during that final matchup in the regular season, where GX in game 1 got that early lead, but if you make one too many mistakes, KC is the type of team that will punish you. They will find those angles of attack, and now they're looking to begin the siege of their own as they chip away at the tier 2 tower.
They're going to own the mid lane in the meanwhile. Watch to see if Kana moves. Then a turret goes down as Yike shadows from the wings. Stun turret will help Jackie defend. The rest of his Baron buff pushes. 1 minute 40, Casey have a timer on the reset to then move for this dragon if they so choose. It would be number 3. GX is trying to move into position, but the side lanes are starting to be a problem.
Yeah, I think even the items for KC starting to be a bit of a problem as well. If you end up with this reset, like Actualizer now completed for Yahoo, thought Kalist might have needed to reset for a buy, but KC now have to try and fight this dragon.
Yeah, just picked up by Yike as well. GX at least have the positional advantage here in River. Ward's being cleared out. Fog of War, thank you, observers. Yike will have to check this. But Kalist can press E instead. Jackie sends it early again. This guy loves his R trigger. Now found out it's Kana on the wing before he goes in Mega Knight. Fire direct to it. Fails the fight. Shadow Dash. Kana about to go Mega. In a choker. Giant X and Esma's just dying to arise from the mid lane. Yeah, who threw everyone? And GA's now popped Isma sent away. And Giant X, their triggers, it's like they just don't know how to coordinate them.
And Jackie keeps trying to make these plays happen, but can't quite make it work. And KC collapsed well. Again, Yahoo's damage. It wasn't the best of an opening for him, but he's damn well in position to carry this game now.
The Actualizer did a ton of work in that little skirmish. He isolated Isma, and he simply melted through his HP bar. An ambitious engage from Jackie's, but the connection just wasn't there. Meanwhile, they think they've caught out Kana. The flash taunt doesn't connect, and then look here, the Actualizer simply melts through Isma, and then a bunch of damage onto GX as well.
Yeah.
Csak hukko bijenom rajzu.
They don't want to go for a fight.
O, Noah? O, dobro. Ok, bar je bacio flash, fajn je.
Flash here for Kana's ult that's off every 40 seconds. It's a nice trade.
Another attempt made by KC. This time they won't find the pick, but they will get the flash out from Noah. So setting themselves up for success. And what a swing this has been for KC. GX, it felt like that this was their game to lose, and they have lost it. It's the truth. They made too many silly mistakes. The Baron Force was a big one. They've given a couple picks over to KC, and it's allowed KC enough time to get those items ready and to just be superior in the team fights. Now, though, they get a bit more of a neutral map state. The Baron has worn off. Dragon is still 3.5 minutes away. So the focus now is to farm. And this means this game is not over just yet for GX. The goal deficit is not so significant that they still can't turn this game around. It ultimately becomes a question of, can they find that angle to pick apart KC? Because so far they have been the aggressors. They have been too over-eager, and KC has just been patient. They have taken their time. They've kind of waited for GX to make the mistake that have allowed them to come back into this game.
I think if we're talking about how GX actually pilot this, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it has, what we've seen has been a lot about this Olaf, and about Lot being able to just run at people, and he has been able to do that a couple of times now. And GX, have they been able to pull it together with Shen ulti, with Azir ulti piled on top of it? It doesn't feel like it so far. I don't know where you guys want to come in on this, but it does feel like Giant X, their piloting has been the biggest problem with this draft so far. As inner turret's going to drop. Mega Knight maybe. Kana flash. Oh, whiff! We are having a lot of whiffs this weekend.
I think the thing I've been missing...
Mnogo bliže nego što sam očekivao. Mnogo bliže nego što sam očekivao.
Okay.
I think that when you have a Zia Mel, you have so much poke at your disposal that they haven't really been taking advantage of. Every fight, I mean, hasn't it just been Jackie's full sending it with his ult?
But it's like, I've never looked at a composition with a Jarvan and gone, yeah, I need the mid laner to engage.
That's
like,
what I mean,
yeah, it's just like, take your time. Like, you've got the
rookie or something,
I think that the responsibility really falls on KC to find the angle, because remember, they're playing into rebuttal as well, so that Ashe arrow is just as much of a... What's the word?
Detriment.
Yes, because I was going to say a boon and a buff, but a boon and a buff is the same thing. But my point still stands that there's this game that Kalist is playing against Noah, which is, have you used your rebuttal? Yes, now I can fire my
It's the
ash
same
arrow.
Lucio, right? Like, you've got to try and manage both.
Exactly, and so there is that delicate balance that they do need to play around. But if the enemy is here, he's just going to full send it every fight, then that becomes a lot easier to make that decision. So, yeah.
All the subtlety of slamming the table.
Jackie's very much just needs to calm down. The Baron now back on the Rift. We can see Kana split pushing in the bottom lane. Jackie's now going to go respond to him. But this game is now much harder for GX to execute upon. That Olaf, I think it just becomes, the later the game goes, the harder I feel it becomes for him to find kills. And that's mainly just because of the amount of healing that Seraphine can provide. And so he might have that instant kill, 80 carry damage that he would have.
Pratimo šta se događa ovdje, 11-11. Trenutno, da mi neko rekao će biti ovako blizak game, ne bi mu verovao iskreno. Pogotovo ne s ove dvije ekipe.
Down for a little bit. Flag and Drag tries to punish Yike. Baron is up. GX are in front of it. KC are like, we're going to go mid. Jackie's just staying behind. He's a large part of the damage output, but not the full part. As this is going down fast, but Yike is over the wall. All it takes is a bit of vision. KC are moving in. Giant X are saying, we're going to flip the game. 8K, do they pull off is the question. Undertow running onto Busio again, and the flash onto Busio. Yes, you get him as Jackie gets Yehu in a golden state, but the Meganar once again I worry about. The all-in setting up. Lottie's down in the back line.
Mislim da je to. Kana je živ i dalje. Yike ima rez. Da, on ubija Džuna. Dobro, i to je to. Nije to? Jeste to, ne može smo sam da uradi ništa.
Game one goes to the French.
KC step over Giant X, and it's Kana with some massive plays on the Nar that keeps the game alive. KC gonna walk it through the Nexus.
It feels like they were so revved up, so charged. Forgetting cooldowns, forgetting how to play as a team. I mean, there's a lot you can digress, but this is KC's moment. You give it to them as they are one step closer to a rematch with Koi. The lower bracket, they fear not. It is only the top three that gets them running.
Very back and forth game. The early game going the way of GX. A couple mistakes on their side allows for KC to bounce back in their team fighting. I mean, they are one of the best team fighting teams in the league for a reason. They navigate it beautifully.
Really well done, KC. All the praise, all the glory. It's only game one. We'll go to a short break and then see if GX can bounce back.
Dobro, donekle očekivano, jeli, svako pauzica, 8 minuta. Ja verujem u KC da stompaju, ali tu smo za 8 minuta pauzica, pa se vraćamo nazad sa Gamerovi 2.
Yeah, I like the Olaf was definitely fighting. Before there were 5 of them on the same screen, I was really enjoying a lot of those fights. The second they got together, it's insane because we saw so many clips of them in comms. We heard a clip from Lot and a clip from Missile being like, guys, this is wrong. This is not how we should be doing it. And then they go in and basically do the exact same thing, which is these fights where they don't really have setup. And while some of them started off okay, they just really did not work out.
Okay, listen, GX. Yesterday, you rocked up versus Team Vitality. You just pressed Destiny River and Team Vitality started running at you and they took the gentleman's agreement to fight to the death. It's not going to work against KC. KC is just a little bit smarter. They came back from this deficit. Kana, I felt like he had a lot of great plays, even though he was set behind so much in the early game. He was the catalyst when it comes to bringing back KC in the game.
I mean, that's the thing. We're prepping this post-match, and we're like, KC's coming back. There's no actual way of showing it. It's just small fights and small leads that they're taking that is actually bringing them back in the game.
Exactly. It was slow and steady. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't spectacular, I would say, because they came back from a 3K goal deficit through small picks just made by individual performances. Yeah, I kind of fumbled a little bit at points, but Kana, I felt like he was just great.
Kana finding those small angles. And obviously, there were more dramatic moments, but from the 3K goal deficit they found themselves in back to even, it was just chipping away so consistently, finding these little moments, punishing GX, which is really nice to see that they can come back in a way that doesn't require the enemy team to just, well, completely throw.
Well, exactly. They had the setup well. So these are the moments where GX just said, just fight. And this is where even Isma got triggered in game. When you just rock up to a team fight and you don't really have a setup and you just hope and pray that enemy walks into you and the Olaf gets to absolutely blast everyone. If they just don't do it, you're just gonna die to Baron Nashor. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. Still took one specific fight for KC to actually gain advantage in this game and come back, Jack, if you wanted to.
He's so dramatic in the shadows
Right there. He's that man.
KC doesn't have much of an in-game identity, and I think that their identity is their team fighting. So I wanted to bring down this play here of the game-deciding fight, where KC has just gotten a pick, and Lot is TPing in. And we'll start watching the fight from Lot's POV here, because KC's carries play this really, really well. It starts with Busio just getting one shot, and Busio has no flash. It's pretty reasonable. He's just gonna die. No real counterplay to him. But I really want you to pay attention to Kalist, because he is gonna play really, really well in this line that I've already drawn here, away from Lot, not allowing him to ever auto-attack him. So he's always kiting back, and you see that when Isma clicks up as well, that means that Kalist clicks back, not allowing him to get the EQ so that they can continue to play the fight very nicely. And then, when Lot ulti eventually runs out and Isma wants to re-engage, Kalist again plays it really well here, flashes the Jarvan Q damage at the last possible tick and doesn't take any damage there, and Lot ends up falling as well. But this fight was really well played by KC, not just from a mechanical POV from Kalist and from the backline, it was also on the other side on how they split up the fight. So if we re-watch the fight here again from the top side POV, we can actually see that Kana was really, really pivotal in this fight. He finds a great slam into the wall, but Busio knows he's dead, right? He already knew that he was dead here, so he recognizes I can still get off the Seraphine ult before I die, and he throws that down, which then CCs Jun and Jackie's for a little bit longer and makes Jun also burn the Mikhails. Kana flashes onto Jackie's, doesn't need to land any of the spells because Jackie's doesn't have the damage, and with Yai coming to clutch him up as well, that saves him, and then Yehu flashes out at the last possible second, and a teamfight that easily could have gone Giant X's way was just won by KC through better team fighting and better mechanics.
Raid boss moments where you're just keeping everyone leashed at max range and you're just properly identifying who is the big bully in this fight. And Jack pointed out very well, it was the Olaf. And it really felt like KC was doing such a great job at dividing these responsibilities. Everyone knew that, hey, Kalist, I need to kite. I need to stay away from everyone because Kana and everyone else is going to buy time for me to navigate the rest of the team fight.
And it's in direct contrast to the clip we showed right before Jack did that breakdown, right? Where you see Azir Jarvan going at the same time, ulting at the same time, which has no synergy whatsoever. Yeah. A single flash gets them out of both of those ultis. They have no follow-up left, and it's clear that all of GX, it feels like, know what they need to be doing. But when it comes down to it, in these big fights, they just have not been on the same page. Even when Watt, in some of those final fights, is doing exactly what you want Olaf to do, splitting two members off completely, not getting kited out like he did in the clip Jack showed, it still just wasn't enough.
And honestly, this is playoff stress in a nutshell, because you end up doing a lot of these things over and over and over again, and they work, but there are times where you could question yourself, why do they work? Because for GX, they did it for the whole game. They just fought. They said themselves, I just want to fight. But at this time, it starts becoming this more of a question. Can you properly identify what works and what doesn't work? Can you take a step back and channel that into the next game? Because you've shown it time and time again that you do have what it takes to get these sorts of leads, but you just need to be a little bit more precise.
I mean, they're back to this raw version of GX I feel like was working for them in the middle of the regular season. One thing though, early games got much better. That's what I'm looking for them here.
Because you talk about building leads, wasn't the case yesterday, even if we saw it in the regular season. So it is nice to see in this first game that they actually can get an advantage. Isma with some super proactive pathing.
Gentlemen,
there you go.
I didn't see the numbers before we ran this graphic, but it's a
sample size of one.
Yeah, it is one. It is one single game. But again, this game doesn't tell us that GX have solved the problem. It just shows that they can have that good early game, which I think does give us hope that this is going to continue to be a more competitive series and not just KC rolling over GX.
GX came to fight in playoffs yet again against KC, but it's KC opening up the score here, 1-0 in this best of 5 series. Let's see what happens next.
We taking over.
We're taking over. Na 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 na.
This is the problem. You said Isma's coming in, he pops the ulti straight away, has to survive. A lot of damage down though, and the shield as well, it's enough. The flash under though, he's got one, and he's running out. Lot's done his job.
Okay, now you're smurfing. Good job, guys. They're on the fence. Okay. Just keep focusing on the plan.
Holy shit! What the f are you doing?
Brother, let me try.
Wait. Brother. Let us break this instead. Brother.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
What is this, brother?
Perfection.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express and game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
A new champion. Welcome to my shop. You'll need the right build. Choose wisely, because every upgrade brings you closer to the next level. So tell me, how will you level up?
One step to another MCOY rematch here for KC as game one is done and dusted. Giant X had one hell of an early game, but they couldn't convert. As we go to game two and see if they can bounce back. Now, this is all generic caster yap to say that KC picked up the blunders and absolutely smacked Giant X across the face. Let's see what happens in game two. As myself, Edius, and Dagda will take you through this pick ban.
I still did like the idea of the draft from Giant X, though. Like, it was cool to see, hey, we're going to take this Mel to push in waves, open Jun to start roaming around the map, and, like, if some of these plays had connected, I think we'd be having a very different conversation, right? Where Giant X just blew the game open, like, holy crap, that's insane.
I think that game was completely winnable for GX.
Yeah,
absolutely. They just dropped the ball, fumbled the bag, and any other metaphor that you can think of to indicate that they kind of threw. Now, let's jump into this draft with Cassio, Varus, and Nautilus taken off the board. Rumble raises in priority for Kana. But the Anivia is going to be the ban. So is that Rumble the first pick, or will it be the Ezreal? We've seen Ezreal be super high priority in the AD carry pool. Junglers feel very open right now. There's still Pantheon, Wukong, Xin Zhao, the kind of trifecta with Rek'Sai. I mean, we saw Yikes Rek'Sai on Saturday. That was the game he lost, but he still had a good performance on it.
That was more about the team's play rather than the
yes, it was a game for sure.
I mean, because to be fair, that was Mainter on the Neferi where that counter was insane. I hope we get more of that as the Rumble you said, that's going to be picked instead. But you're also mentioning the Ezreal. That should be the takeaway here by Giant X with a potential question mark. Karma? Bard is banned. Surely it's Karma lock-in.
Yeah, I think it'll be Karma. I wasn't sure if you still want to try and hold on to see what the handshake on the supports was going to be, but Ezreal Karma's still very good when it comes to push and giving control. Caitlyn, probably going to be out.
And Nico, right? Like,
it could be, yeah. It kind of depends if they want to slam jungle here. They might. There could also possibly be mid. Maybe they want the Annie, because they could also just do top jungle mid right now if they wanted to.
I will say, I think the benefit of having Yike on your team is that his jungle pool is out of this world. It's crazy. This has been played by a lot of people. I don't know what's going to get locked in now. That's a three-way flex that we can talk about if it gets locked.
Completely fine.
And this is just a safer bottom lane that's going to survive.
It's hyper scaling. Great team fighting, relatively short range. My concern with Sivir into Ezreal is always can you get in range enough to actually do the damage that you need? Because Sivir is a very short range AD carry. The way that she offsets that short range is her boomerangs bounce between her opponents, and she can do insane damage to the entire enemy team if she's left to free fire. And when she's paired alongside a Lulu, that damage only becomes more monstrous as the game continues. So let's see how GX round their first half out, and it looks like it's going to be the bog standard Xin Zhao.
Yeah, I do think now it'll be a focus on Giant X to try and get rid of things like the Wukong and that in the draft, because Rumble
evo me nazad. Šta su uveli ovo za break champion? Na šta misliš tačno, Rođe? Objasni tačno i ja sam tu da ti da ti odgovorim.
I'm more concerned about Pantheon and Skarner personally. I think that a front line would be really good here for KC. Neferi, wow. I mean, we saw that cheeky hover from Yike. I wonder if that had any effect. It's a good champion for helping close the gap against long-range enemies, but I think right now what KC just need is a little bit more utility, a way to start the fight. I mean, that's part of the reason why you suggested the Wukong, just because of his ability to find access onto the backline using his E. He then gets that knock-up with the ultimate, can force the Arcane Shift very early out from the Ezreal possibly, and also that knock-up sets up for the Rumble ultimate to then lay across and do some serious damage. But the Pantheon, great single target, great backline. They're going for the Trundle, so they're worried about that matchup in the jungle specifically. The Trundle is into the Xin just because, well,
Champions having a break ti u suštini fora jer je KitKat sponsor. I onda kao, razumeš, kao banovani su, pa kao they're having a break. U suštini bacaju foricu, da ne kažem pošalicu, da ne kažem finticu. Tako da to ti je bukvalno samo bacaju foru. Kao KitKat sponsor, pa Champions having a break.
Lack of CC that are there.
I mean, we've also got Annie. Like, I would just go through Annie, Syndra.
I I think the Victor ban was really good just because I think Victor would complement Jector's comp really nicely. A lot of range, a lot of zone control,
It was a fantastic Victor game.
With the Nivea gone as well, your ability to, like Aurora could be a possibility. What's KC thinking about here? Is it just the Talia Panth? Is that the global side lane options? Cheeky hover of the Vayne, of course, this is the Busio classic, often hovering the Kai'Sa as well. But I have to imagine that Pantheon and Wukong are the premier junglers right now for KC.
Yeah, I understand the Pantheon is a good pick for Yike, and I do like the Pantheon, especially for the double global. I just think it's much more difficult for Pantheon to try and start a fight into Karma, being able to speed up all these different units, right? You don't really have a particular...
Dobro, ja sam uvijek za to da truckaju s tim stvarima. Sjećam se pre 300 godina kada su mi imali Donesi kao sponzora na EBL-u i onda kada god Zek ulta, pošto je bio ni stari Zek ulti, čuo da je vrišto donesi.com Zek, meni to baš bila fora, iskreno.
I think it's still fine. Like, if you just throw out a charm as these, like, Pantheons running into you in that, it makes it very difficult. A lot of mobility as well for very little lockdown on KC's side. And that's why I think the Wukong would have been my preferred option. But if KC can get an early lead with this Pantheon and the Talia, being able to play through side lanes and attack consistently with this Pantheon and having multiple points of contact on the map is really going to be the focus for them.
I prefer Ahri over LeBlanc simply because Polymorph is just OP.
Oh, that's a good point,
I think that also just the Lulu ultimate makes it much harder for LeBlanc to pay. Ahri, however, has a lot less committal utility in that she can just kind of throw charms out. Obviously, it does have a long cooldown, but when you're posturing around a dragon, for example, that charm can be the difference maker. The problem is that regardless of what single target mid lane mage you go for, Sivir always has the spell shield available. So whether it was LeBlanc or Ahri, it's always going to be difficult to lock down Kalist. And I think for me, that's the biggest advantage that KC's draft has, is that there's not really good threat onto the Sivir. And I think that as the longer the fight goes on, the easier it is for her to play. Her ultimate will help a lot with closing that gap. And I think that GX, if they can play a patient game and leverage their range, play through poke, and kind of wait to chip down their opposition before actually forcing a fight, there's ways in which they can win. But overall, I do like the tools that KC have drafted for themselves.
Well, let's hope GX can piece it together then, because game 2, it really all comes down to the line before KC moves to a 2-0. That's what would happen if Giant X dropped the ball again. It has been a very interesting weekend. LEC has delivered in many different ways in the past couple of days, and hopefully today it does in a very positive way as well. Jackie's going to get tagged out by Yehu as game 2 starts.
I mean, right now, my opinion is very much that LEC teams are playing sloppy. I think that with the leads that they generate...
Ništa loše nije rekao.
Rushing, overcommitting, they're not taking the proper steps needed, and the teams, like, you know, we criticize them for their play, but at the same time, our teams are good enough to punish those mistakes, you know? When they're on the back foot, I feel like our teams are actually hyper-aware of like, oh, he's not allowed to be there, let's go. And so then they capitalize and they take advantage, and then you end up with these very chaotic games.
Yeah.
And so what I'm looking for is from teams fighting for the top 3 to demonstrate that when they do generate those leads, they kind of suffocate their opponent out and make it very difficult to play. Now, credit to both GX and KC. They've demonstrated pretty consistently throughout this weekend that when they do fall behind, they have enough grit to fight their way back into the game. And so I think that regardless of who finds a lead here in game 2...
Bude relativno ok. Mislim, možda mogu malo pojačam s moje strane, eventualno ako mi je baš giga slabo. Mogu da probam da pojačam pa da vidimo... Da li će on to biti išta bolje? Evo tako. Nadam da je to ok. To je trebalo da bude fajn. Mislim, poenta je da dalje ne bude glasniji od mene, tako da... Ako je glasniji od mene, onda je previše glasno.
I call it a tofu strike.
Entofu? What's it?
Entofo.
Entofo, that's the one.
Entofu strike.
Entofu gutted.
Down me every day.
But yeah, Entofu strike is able to like push the wave, and then it's like once you get access to like the full rotation of spells, in a decent spot to push that one out. But you do have to be careful for the level 6 again for loss.
Entofu strike. Da li mogu iz lore opet gore? Da. To je, mislim, poenta lore bracketa, lore ti je kao druga šansa. Znaš, i onda
Junglers for now, we didn't talk about it, but Yeti is pathing towards his bottom lane. He's just doing a standardized path, while same could be said here of Isma, who's just cleared up his last camp and is moving towards the Scuttle spawn. Yeti probably going to have to just bypass this and go straight to top lane, as he knows that Isma might be a little bit quicker. He's backing instead. It'll be the opening of his back that'll lead him to top.
Just actually choosing to cancel his base so that he can catch another wave. He will be already about a wave down. Just some really nice trading coming through from Noah and Jun. Able to push that wave underneath the tower, get an earlier base. Supports already though out onto the map, looking for a roam. Looking to proc their support item to also help get that push. And that top grab is going to be secured for KC. So here, within the first 4 minutes, nothing too crazy happening. We can see that Yike is looking to get a bit of deep vision. I imagine he wants to find out when those raptors are respawning. He's likely going to drop a ward. And there it is. So now he's got great information as to what Isma is up to.
Jer u suštini kako funkcioniše sad, znači imamo Koi i G2 u upper bracketu i onda imamo KC i Giants u lower bracketu i onda je fora, znači ko pobedi ovdje ide na, mislim što ide na Koi i onda pobednik ide na G2. Znači to ti je ono, kao bukvalno druga šansa, klajmaš se gore. Ali ako izgubiš u loweru, automatski si ispao full, tako da to je ono nezgodno, jeli? Znači gubitak u lower bracketu, znači je samo ispao.
Watch how Bot goes first of all. Kalis gets tagged out. Spell Shield with a bit of health. Root down from Jun. 2v2 is where our eyes are at. Isma continues on that promise. Ward down so he sees the full Raptors. Trying to get the patience to respawn. Yike getting close to it. Runs back in so that it gets down. Very smart from Yike here. Teetering on the edge. And he runs back into that circle to make sure that that Raptor doesn't go towards Isma and stops his progress.
No aggro reset. Means that he will secure his Raptors. He's actually going to forgo the Krugs. Go for an early base.
Mislim, iskreno kako je sve krenulo, meni se sve više i više čini kao da niko ništa ne može da uradi G2 svejedno. Ali
also means you get the turnaround reset, right? Which is not going to happen for Isma, so should be a decent contest boss.
Ali ko zna, mislim ne znam. Nekad u lecu i ono što se čini očigledno ne bude baš slučaj, tako da mislim da uvek postoji šansa nas neko iznenadi. S tim da stvarno kažem ne vidim opet ko bi to mogao da bude. Ok, KC je mislim uzeo game broj 1, ali mi realno kad pogledamo oni su dosta izgubili od Giantsa čak i u ranim fazama ove partije, što je daleko od optimalnog.
Isma's going to start it. I really thought that it would be too risky to start this one off.
Is now.
Yeah, I mean, the Ahri can't really collapse first. This wave needs to be caught. Bot lane also has the push from KC. So I feel like it's a bit of a time waste, but now the pings are coming on towards the crab, but KC again have push in mid lane. Isma, you have to go the long way around. And Kana, well, he's being sort of pushed underneath this tower, but not really. The wave's kind of gone. So he should be able to move towards the river if he needs to. Yeah, this should be uncontested. And there we are. Secured level 6 for Yike, and now he's looking to push his advantage even more.
Looking to take a long way around. Equalizer used on the wave in the meantime. Bot's going to match that quite nicely. That does mean that maybe Kana can join in, but KC, they drag this red buff towards his angle. Who's just going to be in jungle first. Isma kind of knows that, yeah, maybe my red buff is just gone. Yeah, who also that pressure we talked about as Jackie's a little bit low.
I sviđa mi se kad ekipe rane ovako rani, kad rane ovako rani vidove. Jackie's flash, ult. Ima još jedan tako da je out, osim ako ne bude gridovo se vrati pa da umre.
I mean, it was a good attempt, right? If you can flash charm before Yehu gets that unraveled earth down, you can dash with everyone on top of him and suddenly get a quick kill, but unfortunately just...
Da, ako to ne uradiš na vreme, šta ćemo onda? Šta ćemo onda? Šta je onda plan?
Jackie's insta-stunned him, and then Jackie's dashed in with the intention of trying to find the charm. And so then it just ended up being an awkward situation where Jackie's went forward, Yike ended up back because he was stunning him at his original position, and so they both had a similar idea, which is I'm going to catch my opponent off guard, and then it happens at the same time. So then it looks very awkward, but I think that for both sides, if Yike gets the stun off, the knockback comes through, the Ahri then loses all of her HP, but on the other side, if the charm connects initially, catches them off guard, then GX can look for a follow-up play, and I think that both sides had the right idea. Ultimately, though, it ends up just being a trade of flash.
But ultimately, let's not forget, mid-flash for jungle flash, always going to benefit jungle, right? We're looking at Jackie's
traditionally, but it's an Ahri, like, it's not like it's a Victor or something that's really immobile.
If he gets caught the next 20 seconds, then yes, but you're right.
That is 100% fair.
I would also argue that Pantheon having flash, especially against Ezreal, is pretty valuable. Dragon is alive as well. Neither side has started that objective off yet. We've seen a ton of roaming from supports as the Grubs is going to be the first objective focus as both bot lanes now make their way up to top.
Okay, support's hovering on a warded Busio. He has a wild growth. The difference here is Jun, as he gets 6, only gets another level of Mantra, so a bit more fighting threat here from the Lulu as on a ward Busio can be completely seen out. It is Noah on an Ezreal. He'll be safe that close to the turret. And Jun goes up there to hover him, look for his level 6 as well for that extra Mantra point. So as bot laners sit here, TV's also going to be burned from Jackie's mid lane. And further to your point, guys, that ulti is back up and available for the Ahri, so not really that much threat on Jackie's here. As jungle's also pinging, they're meeting up. Top lane is a party right now.
I da vidimo opet swapove rano. Iskreno, ovo me donekle uzbuđuje kad malo bolje razmislim, uzići obzir dolazi MSI Worlds. Noah je samo mrtav, ali mislim, Noah je... Imao je barijeru, samo nije bacio, ali... Iskreno se kinda radujem činjenici da možda postoje neki swapovi. Jer mislim da za... Mislim da za Worlds može bude interesantno. Ne mora da znači... Ne mora da znači, možda i Worlds bude samo giga spor zbog toga, ali s druge strane generalno swapovi nekada znaju da diktiraju metu i to možda bude jako, jako zabavno. A možda znači će Sion biti pikovan svaki game, zašto niko ne želi da igra legitimnog lanera kada gledamo swapove. Što je kinda 50-50.
KC getting grubs too, or at least, all 3 in fact. Really nice start to this early game, about 1,500 gold up. All lanes looking green or blue or aqua, whatever that color is. We're finding success here, and I have to say, it was last game where Giant X really led the early game, only to throw it away. This time around, KC have bounced back nicely, as this invade from Isma. Is it ambitious? Yikes on the way in, a level difference between Smite goes down, Isma gets level 8 now. Nisam ispratio, ali su mi rekli ljudi. Rekli su mi ljudi koji prate stream, pa su mi rekli na live-u da je baš bio, da je baš bilo upseta u LPL-u. Što mi izda dosta interesantno. Scale ovdje, obe ekipe scaleuju shit, ali da je full build, ja bi uvek rađe imao KC samo zbog AD carry-a. Nijedna ekipa nema neki insane scale, da se razumemo. Jer ti kad pogledaš s jedne strane, Rumble je uvek 50-50, lepo scale, ali 50-50, Pantheon scale shit, Talija je ne do bog nikom, ok, radi da cancela dashove, ali Sivir Lulu su mnogo jaki na full buildu. S druge strane, Xante dobar, Xin je kinda shit, mimo što mu je ulti util, Ahri je tu 50-50, Ezreal Karma ništa spec. Znaš, tako da realno gledano mislim da Sivir Lulu outscaluju ceo lobby, ali, postoji veliko ali, mislim da ovdje nužno scale ne odlučuje pobednika gejma, mislim da nije dovoljno. Znaš, mislim da taj Sivir Lulu scale je jak, ali da nije ono kao auto win ako potraje dovoljno game. Čak da je neka Junara možda bi i rekao da je možda jače malo na njihovu stranu, ovako, šta znam.
3 plates were secured in bot lane for Kalist, and Yike, I think he had a really nice sidestep on the charm, which you are completely right. If they had gotten that kill, it probably would have been a net neutral, but the fact that he walked away with his life means that I think KC got a huge advantage in terms of gold off the back of that play.
I feel like regardless though, I mean, Jack is making quite a lot out of what seems like not much to me. I look at Yike, I look at the commitment there, I look at the aggression, the fact that bounces back puts GX.
So look, I think Jackie still has a base.
He is not.
No, so he was coming from base too.
Oh, was he? I mean,
I'm pretty sure.
Malignance. Vedius
I'll
has a
double
keeper. Oh, he's going to rewind. You don't know this, but Vedius has god powers in the league client. He can rewind and see what happened. Now, you won't see it on your screen right now.
No,
He's on a different PC.
He's right.
Yeah,
Jackie's reset and then came back off the play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dagda was right, say that. Say that.
Yes. He was. Yeah, Dagda was right.
Bu bit će fun, iskreno. Mislim, realno kad pogledaš, Mato, pogotovo za MSI, ako mene pitaš, ne bi li zabavno, ne bi li bilo zabavno, da gledamo MSI bez jedne top tier ekipe. Vidi, ako mene pitaš, to je banger, brate. Daj nam sve novo. Jer realno gledano svaki MSI gledamo konstantno sve iste ekipe.
Gotta fight fire with fire and kind of take the fight to Isma. Jackie's now here to support. Flash matches. Here's Yike. The charm this time connects.
Dobro. Yike pada.
Spirit rush over the wall to match over to Yahoo as well, but Jackie's getting low. He jumps back over the thread of volley, flashed away from it now. The fight begins with Noah and Jordan jumping in. Kallis gets wild growth and gets the kill though. He stands his ground and he delivers. Noah gets out, matched by Kallis, flashing over the wall. Is it too ambitious? The Boomerang Blade says yes as Busio almost dies. Yes, the spear to the heart after the true shot barrage is McClose with the thread of volley. He dies to Yahoo. Noah lucky to get out on the back of the fight, but over-ambitious from KC in the end as Giant X stand tall.
It was complete fisticuffs in that one. It looked like it started going that little bit too far, but the flashes clean to try and escape, and it means that at the end of it, Giant X able to get some back. Like this point, I was like, okay, Yike dies, but KC have already collapsed, and with that wall, it's preventing the rest of Giant X from coming in. But it's Jackie's flashing away that gets him to safety. A charm onto Yahoo. Clutch here as he kind of ends up backing away and buying space then for Noah and Isma to really separate themselves. But Kallis with this flash ends up giving his life. Noah's ultimate clips on towards Busio, and ultimately Kallis ends up going that bit too far forward that gives Giant X some fight.
I always need help, guys. When I have no flash, like I can't play otherwise. Just fought us 2v2, right? So we try to come as fast as we can.
Yeah, I mean, the communication is clear there for Yike. He's identifying something that we've already talked about, which is that he's invested his flash twice now. The first was around that Raptors. The second time was actually escaping the enemy jungle on the bot side. And this is kind of a cascading consequence of that tempo play that KC made earlier on. GX reacting in kind and doing a good job of tracking that flash and punishing him, leveraging their mobility. And you rightly identified, Dag, that I think KC just overcommitted to trying to get something back. It should have just been a 1-for-1 trade, but by going for more, it ends up being 3-for-2. So GX once again demonstrating they do have some fight in them. Yep. Ready to go toe-to-toe. Jackie's the guy that I'm keeping my eyes on in this game, because when he's on this Ari, there is a bit of a history with him against KC based on the regular season, where he's found some clutch charms that have swung the game in GX's way.
Feels like he needs to keep the pace going though, because KC, while you see a gold lead and don't want to be that superficial or that baseline, I will tell everyone at home, I mean, I don't need to tell you, just discover the Sivir. 2 items almost. Even though Kallis flashed forward and got punished, he's still got a kill in that fight. The Sivir is still very relevant very early in the game, and it feels like Kallis is going to be packing a punch more than people would expect at this 16-minute mark as Dragon started by Isma.
They want to contest this Dragon, but their positioning is very awkward. Yahoo, his ulti is back up. Top lane is an all-in right now.
Yeah, but the tofu strike misses. Meanwhile, we look towards...
Joj, a Jackies baš ne može da igra, iskreno. Baš su ga lepo iskanturovali, najiskrenije.
Every shot almost. Kallis side steps backward. There's the threat of volley waiting for it after the unraveled earth, the seismic shove. Noah getting swayed away. Arcane Chip gets it though. Kallis drops to the GX80 carry.
Noah wanted that one. Couldn't land some of those arcane, the Qs, but managed the arcane shift to the end. And it's Giant X who were able to pick up the Dragon off the back of it as well.
This time, Kallis not having flash really hurt him in the team fight. He took a step too far and GX pounced on that opportunity. It will be their second Dragon of the game. But the Polymorph demonstrating its power in that fight as Jackie's given no room for recourse. He went in, immediately gets stunned up. Polymorph knocked up, like look at this, stunned into knockup, into Polymorph. He just doesn't get to play the game. Isma, great target focus, chunks out Yahoo at the start of the fight. Kallis then oversteps. Noah, meanwhile, is completely untouched, and the rest of KC have to split apart. They end up trading 1-for-1, but it's a Dragon going their way, so net gain goes the way of GX.
Jako interesantan razvoj događaja, iskreno. Jako interesantan razvoj događaja.
Stepping up as you see Callisto.
Opet 4-4, opet Casey ne dominira, mislim, ne znam.
Playmaker with 0-1 and
Baš je giga unlucky, iskreno, nemam pojma.
The Lulu, there is a reason why this pick is still in early rotations in Fearless Drive.
Lost hovering on mid-wave, though, means that Kana should be able to move down into this bot side and get this turret. I think they were kind of hoping that KC would overcommit to a play, but KC just happy to give the ward. So will be KC still with Kana pushing in.
Might just equalize that bottom wave, get a push in again, and then see if he can move across this map. Remember Hex gates on the Rift, as we have a Hex Soul, so players come out of base that little bit quicker. Kana use the equalizer, he just burns it alive, and the mini wave is pushed in. Meanwhile, Casey's still chilling. I mean, 2 dragons, yes, for GX, but Baron's up in a minute 30, and we'll just say another one of these fights goes a bit pear-shaped. We have ourselves a purple worm as the smaller one comes out first.
KC collapsing on mid. You got both Talia and Rumble here now, so really want to get this mid lane turret, and we'll get it just before that, before anything from Giant X can amount to.
Now that top tower is the only one left, and it's only sitting on about, what is that, 2 plates? Yeah, 2 plates remaining. So KC, they find themselves with a strong early game. They have good control across the entirety of the river, with GX littering wards here and there. KC, though, after securing that mid tower, need to reset, need to spend what gold they have. Callisti has to be close to an Infinity Age, I have to imagine. The reset will come through, we'll see if he has enough. And there it is. Okay, so Infinity Edge now completed for Callist is a nice power spike for him. 2 items also finished for Noah. So our AD carries are, I would say, online now. Ezreal, of course, does have that range advantage in the sense that he can just play back, throw out his Qs, and as long as they're hitting, good damage is going to stick onto the side of KC. Meanwhile, for Callist, his damage is in the 5v5s. If GX are grouping up, he's going to melt through the opposition with his bouncing blades. Blue buff on the agenda for GX, leveraging their mid-pro and top push in order to steal away a cheeky little objective.
Jahu ide na diskutabilan build, Ari ide na jako fun build, ja obožavam Lichbane inače. Či ja sam ono heavy Lichbane enjoyer.
But it's constantly keeping Kana with the push on this bottom side of the map, and I'm wondering how KC want to try and utilize him. Like, we just saw that shift across with that Rift Herald that enabled the take on the mid turret, but still, they can always now kind of open up and rumble on mid and really start to put pressure in towards the top side of the jungle for Giant X and get vision control in around the Baron area.
Learners to top for now, minute 42 break, keep that in note. He's going to be used, bit of movement speed on the hunt from Calist, sending it with Yikes ulti as well. Busio, flash, polymorph again! On this Lulu, he has been sublime. June is going to flash away, but even though it is the month of June, it is not the month of this support. Double kill over to Calist.
KC radi posao.
KC pounce.
And that's just what I was talking about. How are they going to use Kana? Well, they TP him to mid, knowing that he doesn't have to be, but hang on, Jackie's.
Isma, deep here, yeah, who has an angle. Threat of volley's going to start.
Jackie's, Jackie's nema damage-a i sad, ha! Unlucky. Da je bar dobio jedan, mogao je da resetuje pa da proba da nastavi ovako. I to je Baron za KC. Ok, ajde, malo... Mislim, malo bolji game. Što jeste, malo je bolja partija. Tako da moramo bar s tim da se složimo da da ovo ne izgleda toliko loše.
So that whole play starts with Noah E-ing to clear a control ward. He used his E over the wall in the mid lane to clear that control ward in full vision of KC. I want to see if the observers actually showcase this. Okay, so we don't see the start of the play, but basically he uses E over the wall.
Into side brush.
Into that side brush to kill that control ward, and when he does it, that is just the go signal. KC says his E is gone, even he doesn't have flash. Send, immediately punish. I mean, Jackie's does find a good charm, but it's not enough. With the jungler gone as well, the mid laner falls. But that is the type of play that you cannot be making. These teams will punish you for making silly mistakes like that and using your E to clear a control ward. I didn't think they would Jackie, sorry.
Nezgodno.
It is a silly mistake, and now KC in full control here, game 2.
I mean, look, 6,000 gold lead, Weaver's War going to start another fight, but this one ain't as equally weighted. Yeah, who's going to take...
Jako malo grešaka možeš da napraviš da se bilo što dogodi na ovom nivou.
And KC are going to take their first dragon of this game. Control completely shifted, and that play felt like an extra 5,000 gold for KC just came out of left field.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to like, that is a representation of how small the mistake can be and how detrimental it can be for the state of the game. Great awareness from KC. They immediately pounce on that opportunity, and now in full control with the Baron buff. This is going to be a dead tower as KC continue to push their advantage forward.
And there's little that Giant X can really do to respond to this. They're going to move across towards mid, where Kana has already started to push in that ward as well. Sorry, that wave as well, and managed to get some vision. Ooh!
Disrespect on the Hun. Lot going to get stunned up, but he presses W. It won't save his life though as he flashes away. Still close to shielding out from Jun. Helps out. The spear almost enough. Wild Growth used on Callisto. Isma thinks maybe I can find an angle. They need more than that though. Jackie's found out onto Kana. He flashes away from the charm. Giant X got a little bit more than they were expecting, but still KC with the Baron buff are going to pull out.
Kind of basically putting himself in harm's way to make sure the Giant X were interested in him and not the crew of KC trying to escape out of that bottom side. So kind of had to burn his flash, but still KC got a lot on that bot lane.
Still KC, an win.
Yeah. They are in a fantastic spot right now with 30 seconds roughly left on the Baron. They want to push as much as they can. There are pings on the top lane of the side of GX, identifying that that tower should be the next in line to fall. As KC, they're sending their Sivir into the top lane. They've got the push out on mid. Kana has TP available. He's going to go back to base. Will he TP to join the squads? Is it worth investing? I see him sitting in base. I wonder if he's just waiting for an item to be completed. Nah, he's going to throw that TP into mid lane to keep that pressure going. KC want to use as much of the Baron, and as I say that, the Baron will wear off.
Kana might be dead. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, they're turning it into an engage. Kana is taking no damage. Isma gets fried asunder. Yahoo running forward, gets a flash out of Nora as the seismic shove was threatened. KC have now burned a couple of ultis, but it's all worth it. Isma in the ground for 35. Top lane open, mid's going to be 2.
I mean, the map is in a great state for KC. The bot lane is pushing, the top wave is pushing. They just cleared out that mid wave. They got both flashes out from Noah and Jun. The wave clear from Callisto will continue to come through. I don't think there's much more that they can get on the map, but it looks like they're sticking around for top lane, so they want to secure this tier 2 tower at least.
Callisto stepping up with Ardent Sensor coming from Busio. Where's the damage? Well, on the Jackies. There it is! Boomerang almost takes
Mogu mi dobar damage.
Seismic shove dodge, otherwise a dead Ari. KC with that pressure will open up to 9,000 gold.
That was very close to being a kill. I thought it was going to be a little bit more for KC, but still, KC using these double global ultimates so well to cover mid lane, and now using that push control that they have to take that top tier 2 as well. Things are looking very dicey for Giant X. I mean, the extra dragons at least helped them out a little bit in that they can try and delay and look for plays elsewhere. But up against like Lulu and a Sivir late game, that's not exactly the benefits that you want from scaling.
Take a second to breathe as GX realize the situation that they're in with backs against the wall. KC on the precipice of going to match point. These silly mistakes you just can't afford to be making when contesting the top 4 in the LEC, and you're seeing the full face of as to why. We saw those silly mistakes in game 1 from GX, and the same silly mistakes costing them in game 2. Obviously different context, but results all the same. Callisto continue to scale up. The Sivir very close to completing that 4th major item, the Death Camp on its way for Yahoo. The GA nearing completion for Yike. We have to imagine that the Dragon or even the Baron will be the next big point of contention. That'll be the final nail in the coffin and really the final opportunity for GX. If they want to turn this game around, they'll need to...
Duše, gledajući juče, ja mislim i dalje nije gotovo, najiskrenije. Očigledno ovdje, brate, svaka ekipa je jako sposobna da bilo kom trenutku baci apsolutno dobijen game. Tako da, ovdje iskreno, 9k golda, ništa je gotovo.
Ulti burn, 30 seconds till Drake and 20 seconds till Baron. See what it is worth.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of value on the split push. Yeah, so seems to be that's the name of the game here for Giant X.
Let's get a couple of plates, but the problem is there's a Talia in the game, so Spirit Rush needs to be used about now. Good charm. Jackie's used to go in instead onto Yahoo. Takes the 1v1 before the team can rock up. Flash away. Spirit Rush forward deception out of range. And now here comes the KC squad. Avengers have rocked up. And Callisto must be Captain America because that was on point.
They'll take the kill. Jackie's doing his best to find the outplay onto Yahoo, but it will not be enough. Dragon uncontested. Baron is alive. but I think it's a little too risky for GX to start this one off. They definitely don't have the damage needed with Ezra.
Ne, znači ovo je bukvalno toka fiesta, ja ne mogu da verujem.
They'll take the top tower instead, as Casey will be happy.
A što je najjače, Jackie je već imao nekoliko situacija u ovom gameu gdje mislim da je mogao samo da... da je bukvalno pola sekunde bolje prošlo za njega, da je, što kažem, da je Trunku bolje odigrao, ali... baš ga nijance dele, mislim, kad igraš Ari, realno gledano, da li si dobio reset na prvom minu ili nisi, ti je sva razlika između toga da li si stompovo fight ili ne.
And I mean that because game one was impressive until it wasn't. In this second game, one mistake has cost them dearly. Noah too far in the mid wave, going to catch him again. The arcane shift, he gets cleansed. Jun gives him a speed up as that TP right in front of everyone from Lot is into 4 members of KC. Seismic shove going to be dodged away with the pathmaker. Jackie's about to come in and try and change the play. He needs to find a charm. He misses a little bit too shallow. As Polyball onto his move, jumps in. Crescent guard, fantastic. Yike in the middle of no man's land, but his shield is up. Seismic shove onto Noah. He gets caught. It looks so perfect. Finally finding a fight, but too far behind is Giant X. Jackie's going to Spirit Rush out. Yike with the spear out. He goes into GA thanks to the damage from the mid laner of Giant X. But meanwhile, Lot is left alone with Yahoo, with Jackie's also in the same position. KC on the base march for another game.
KC stands strong against the reaction from GX. An engage from Isma looks like it can flip the game on its head, but they don't have the damage, they don't have the gold, and they don't have anything left to defend their Nexus as KC look to close out game 2.
Jike about to die, the shield goes up once again. Khan's going to run forward. KC still have 5 flash forward with the polymorph. Busia, my MVP of game number 2. 13 out of 14 KP as a flush away from Jun will end this game in crisis the Giant X, but in repetition a KC once again in round 2 in another spring playoff bracket.
A 13,000 gold lead to round things out. KC much more confident in this one. The punishes were good, and Giant X left scratching their heads now as they have to try and find a way to bring back 3 games if they hope to advance.
In match point, ready for a rematch with MCoy. It looks like this is KC's day before we end out our weekend at LEC. Let's find if Giant X have some bark to the bite or bite to the bark after this.
To ništa, lep game, još potencijalno jedna i KC i Vina, tako da idemo na pauzicu, 8-9 minuti, vraćamo se nazad. Sa onim što se čini kao stom za KC, mada kažem, koliko smo naučili, ništa pravila nema, tako da brzo se vraćamo i tu smo sa možda i finalnim gamom za danas.
I think you should have a break.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Maybe cause I'm the crushing.
The whole room was howling.
Howling? Oh, that's not howling, buddy. That's...
Did you steal the LEC trophy? Okay, you can call us.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express in game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
The human body was built to move.
not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
No flash now. Don't pursue. Nice. No flash there, okay?
Oh, guys. Please.
Watch out, Watch out.
Holy f***, if I could kill him.
It's fine. There's TP.
I'm gonna double Astral.
Yeah, can TP mid. Go. Has flash.
Flash.
Is it?
Out of here. Wanna push an Ash, guys?
Yeah, out of here.
I don't think they will see me, Jackie, sorry. For me, they...
Hello everyone and welcome back to the LEC where KC find themselves up 2-0 against GX, and I wanted to take a look at the play that turned it on its head for GX, because let's see how a simple turn for Prio just goes bad and turns the game on its head. It all starts down okay for GX. They find themselves 2.5k gold down, and Lot will get the Prio. He's gonna want to open top side to help his friends here to get some control, and this circle right here is the area that they're going for. This is where all the action will happen. Now, it's a bit sleeper. He doesn't find anything, but that's usually what happens. These are just simple turns for Prio, where most of the time you just want the vision control. But on the side of KC now, they just said, Lot is bot lane. Kana, I have a turn now. This area should be ours. Kalista and Busio are already walking to the top side, and they find this mine. This is already a little bit odd, but now, Noah's here. We just said that this is our fight for control. This is the area that we want to control. The TP comes in really clutch. Talia is already starting the ulti, and Pantheon all the way from here, he already flew in. And this just shows that GX is a little bit over eager. This is the play that also in game one turned the game a lot on its head. they just want to fight way too much and they're not really respecting these turns for plays. And after all of that, what should have been a very easy turn for Prio, just get vision control, slow the game down together, turns into a Nasher for KC and complete snowball from the side of KC. But Desk, what else happened over there?
Oh man, I mean, it's a tale as old as time, Odo. I'm cringing as you show it to me because we talk about it so consistently for teams, right? How important it is to be clean on your setups, how important it is to not skip steps. And, you know, Odo highlighted it, right? Like, you have to recognize you took your turn, you had your group up, you got your vision. That territory isn't, like, permanently yours.
I also feel like we, like, Noah eat over the wall. Like, I feel like when we watched that in 4x, we kind of missed that, like, pivotal detail.
And if he had never looked at the enemy draft, he might have gotten away with it.
That's true.
But then, if he had at ever any point considered that there was a Talia and a Pantheon, which I think is a reasonable expectation of a professional player, he would have realized he was a, you know, a dead man walking.
I mean, I thought it would be a KC 3-0, but GX showed some real signs of life. And I was actually excited for Jackie's and Isma, but it just feels like we never get the consistent firepower from this team. We get blinks of brilliance. We get beautiful fights like this where Isma plays it so well. He flashes over the wall, knows that Yike doesn't have the flash. Jackie's dodges the Talia W. They're just playing it really well. Jackie's flashes out just in time to get away, and then Yehu wants to chase them, but still, they end up being able to turn it with Isma playing it really, really well when Kalist flashes over the wall, dodges another Talia W, and then Noah hits the ultimate, and it's just these really good fights from them where you're like, oh, maybe Jackie's and Isma can actually carry Giant X towards a victory, but then the rest of the team can never perform around them good enough.
I feel like, again, we're back to GX in the regular season where they would consistently go for fights. Not always the best ones, but they're always going to try to challenge the other team. And for me, I think about what Jackie said yesterday, the fact that KC is nothing special, that they just click better. To me, they're just also being smarter on the map right now.
Yeah,
and this is what's making the difference.
They're clicking better, they're playing fights better. I think, again, you see the promise in the skirmishes, but it feels like every time we either go to the late game or to a full-on 5v5, it all falls apart. And it's really especially disappointing, again, because this is a roster that has stayed together way longer than this KC team has been playing together, right? And already it feels like KC, not only they're clicking better, right, which is, you know, fair, but they're also playing better on a team level, recognizing their strengths better in these fights, as we saw in Game 1. And it's just not something that I think we can let GX get away with as a criticism we have to levy against them, is they need to be playing better as a team. I'm happy they're matching in some of the skirmishes, as you highlighted, Jack. I'm happy that we have that potential in what we saw yesterday from Vitality, but it's clearly just not enough against KC.
What's strange is that Giant X has evolved. Like, the Giant X stuff before, it was Noah and Jun show, right? Like, there was only them that could really carry the game, and if Noah didn't have a good game, you knew it was a Giant X loss. But in some weird universe, when Jackie's and Isma started playing well every single game, Noah and Jun never play well anymore.
I think the problem is we needed an upgrade, not an evolution. Just because they're walking on land now they can't swim.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like
the
that's the problem. We needed
doing
both.
a triathlon.
Yeah, we needed the triathlon. Like, you're running the marathon now, but you are fumbling at the first hurdle when we get to swimming. And like, this is the thing. We needed it to be a full court press. And that was the thing when I got back that I was so excited about. You guys were like, GX mid jungle is great now. And I was like, awesome. And you're like, there's a caveat. Bot lane is no longer the star of the show, and it's been a little bit rough. And this is really hurting them because I think that they need to be able to fire on all cylinders, because it's very clear, especially with like Kalist just playing so consistently on the Ashe and now in the Sivir game, obviously just pumping up his damage stats pretty effortlessly, partially due to the champ, but the fact that KC have these playmakers and also kind of a pretty rock-solid AD carry alongside it just makes it really hard for me to predict for GX going into this third game.
I do think now going into game number 3, we've seen a lot of enchanters thus far, which is not Jun's highlights, right? When we think of Jun, we think of the Rel, we think of the Nico, we think of the Rakan. These champions that can really create havoc in team fights, get a good engage, and win the game for your team. And I do think that now with the Surfing gone, the Karma gone, the Lulu gone, there's a lot more avenues for Giant X to try to find that, which then also limits Kalist's potential because we're not seeing Kalist on a hyper carry with an enchanter to back him up. And that's a real avenue for success for Giant X, but also feels a little bit like I'm coping saying that because I thought the Giant X strats were fine. It wasn't a problem. It's just like they need better than fine. They need great.
What do you think they need, Odo, joining us again for the draft here? Well, they had a lot of agency. I was quite happy with what they had thus far. It just felt like it mostly came down to execution. I didn't really feel like there was a lot of problem in the draft. It was extremely spicy. As Jack said it earlier, the enchanters are out. So I feel like if there is one saving grace when it comes to GX is the fact that we see June and Noah back on comfort, where it was always about fighting a lot, having the melee support so that you have a lot of proactivity and a lot of agency in the game. So that's something that I'm looking at, even though the Nautilus and the Varus are
yeah, I mean, there's still the Lucian. I think Lucian, for me, when you see the Nautilus being banned out, could be a potential first pick or a high priority for
Was
Giant
your
X.
first win on Lucian in the LEC?
No, that was Samdi.
Okay, well, I lost my hope in Lucian again.
I think Lucian's pretty good. He gets way more hate. Lucian's like Jin. A lot of people hate him. I don't think he deserves all the hate.
Jin has a snare and can stand like 5 miles away and kind of sometimes do stuff. Lucian, when he does nothing, really does nothing. Don't get me, I'm sorry, I'm an OG Lucian hater. I'll let it go though. Okay, so Bars banned away, Nautilus, not surprising. Obviously, kind of cream of the crop there. Lucian, Nami still available. Is there a world where it's still?
I evo nas nazad, ajmo da vidimo šta se izdogađa.
Okay, you're right.
Kakva je situacija u ovom draftu i da li ikako mogu da se vrate nazad igrači Giantsa.
It has range now with the million W.
Yeah. Clearly the safe hyper-scaling 80 carry I've been waiting for.
Bard taken out makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you're banning the Nautilus, that's kind of the last vestige of the range supports that I think you could see from KC.
Still.
You do have Nico. I mean, it's going to be the Lucian, so probably just Lucian Milio here for KC or Nami, depending on what they want to go for. We'll see what Giant X has into it. With the Caitlyn out, you don't have a hard lane bully. And Varus as well. We'll have to see. I think it could just be the Cybercon. We've seen that an often lot in the LEC. It's not really a
Volim, Merence volani da furaju malo taj narativ iz ljubavi.
Chilling, you get the level 6, and then eventually it gets pretty easy. But getting the Cassio feels pretty good into the Lucian as well, because you always have the tankiness to play against it.
Milio to take it away. I do wonder what this is going to be paired with, to be honest, because when I think of the combos...
Draven! It could be Draven.
Really?
I mean, Draven Milio is pretty good. It's pretty good into Lucian, but I don't know if Noah would play it, to be honest. He's not really the...
No, nije Draven, nije on taj lik.
But I think if they pick a weak ADC with this Milio, they're just going to get dumpstered in lane. Yeah. So they really need to have some sort of spicy pick here to make this work.
Cassio does make sense. We see a lot of now... We're in the depths of Cassio and Anivia kind of trades, exactly, where even if you pick... I guess... A lot of people prefer the Cassio just because it wins lane a little bit more, but I personally feel like Anivia is just so damn strong right now. It just kills so much better. We see the Nami. That's why I feel like the Milio doesn't really make sense, because you still have Lucian, Nami, and now... Ooh, okay, never mind. Throw everything I said out the window because...
This is like so difficult to play for Aphelios, because like... Later
it does scale well.
It does scale well, but later on in the game, you're playing against Anivia and Nami.
Yeah, it's like...
So like...
Ne, legitimno, Merence, mislim, kažem ti, ja sam iskreno naviku, tako da... U smislu kao, oni to forsiraju pa forsiraju. Tako da ima tu puno stvari s kojim se ja baš puno ne slažem, ali...
So, I will say it does seem incredibly difficult, but not surprising to see GX lock the Aphelios, as you said, kind of forced into matching here at this point.
Mislim da neće se skoro nešto tu puno promeniti, pa kao... Šta da radim?
Easy jungle bans going to start coming through here. Already Nefiri taken off the board, although technically also a top lane pick.
I mean, GX need engage. That is the #1 thing they need in their composition to make this Aphelios and Cassio able to hit. Because already KC are outranging them, and they have a lot of tools to keep them at bay with the Anivia wall, the Nami bubbles, and the waves. So really, we need to see maybe like even an Ornn, Malphite, some actual hard engage to make this Giant X comp be able to
Oh no, those are like your signature picks. How do you feel about
How do you feel about you're resuming my whole 10, 11 years of League of Legends into Ornn and tanks.
Yeah, as the Lord of Dogtown, as in Dog Champs, tell me, what are you thinking here?
I pray that I go 5 pick here and I can pick a tank, because as you guys properly identified, GX team comp does need tanks, and the Trundle comes out just to make that tank just a little bit sweeter. But I've seen GX pick their top lane around 4, and I don't want to see it right now. I just want the top laner to go on 5, because the Anivia is still a flex. You cannot really afford to pick this sort of engaged champion on the top lane now, with Anivia flex looming around your head.
Yeah, it's also frustrating too, because wherever the Anivia goes is really nice into Scion, and the potential alt flanks, the wall is just so frustrating to deal with. But
Nije, mislim, ono, kažem ti.
really shows us that they at least want to keep the tank option open.
To je diskusija koja je odavno ono... Nažalost, u kontekstu štaš da radiš. Giga glupo, ali... It is very listen, Imart.
It really feels like you need to attack this team comp from like multiple angles. The
But Sejuani
don't get too excited.
Sejuani with no melees. This doesn't feel great. Like, this is like... Isma's probably saying, guys, please don't pick me Sejuani, because no jungler I've ever played with...
This is ADC, classic ADC versus jungle conversation, where the ADC says, we need engage, the jungler says no, but everyone else bullies him into he really needs to pick engage.
Exactly. Every jungler I've played with, they hate playing Sejuani if they don't have melees, but sometimes you just need to engage.
I mean, there are options, right? You can... Okay, so it's one of those situations where you can kind of make the top laner fit into this box because there's champions like Renegade.
Odamne u draftu. Top laner će uvek da navija da jungler se ne zabavi. Tako da tu nema ništa novo.
You want someone, a bulky boy, to walk forward and do things for you, and the Sion does come in. So now, all of a sudden, GX team comp can be saved.
Pa nema Marence, zato ih ima ovde kako hoćeš, brate. Zato su svi što su u tom fazonu došli ovde, brate.
Well, the problem is that Sion...
Kad pogledaš.
Sion is quite malefic in the laning phase against Camille. I just feel like you just get axed.
Early game.
Yeah, you get axed extremely hard. I'm looking at
Realno.
like, even though Renekton is a little bit of a minion, I would say, because he doesn't really get to provide much. The fact that you have another buddy for the Sejuani to just sit in the front line and buy space for your Aphelios and Cassio, because realistically, you don't need to do much. You just need to go somewhere and press S for your Aphelios and Cassio, and they will carry the team fight for you. So, Lot has a lot of freedom here when it comes to his pick. It just needs to be a melee, and the Kled... Okay.
I like the Kled a lot.
I like it. It's super oppressive. It doesn't get outscaled as much as Renekton or Aatrox into Sion and stuff like this. He gets to be a complete demon when it comes to the laning phase. He can take plays, he can get himself ahead. Provides a little bit of engage just in case you would need it. You don't really need to go in, but if everything goes bad, you need the go button.
They definitely need engage.
Okay,
I mean, they need to run in. They need to full send it with this comp and run them down.
Gentlemen, whose draft do we favor? Before we send it over to the casters, I gotta know, like, who are you giving the edge to? Ignore the nameplates for a second.
Casey.
I'm closing my eyes. I'm saying GX.
You're saying GX? Okay, 1-1. Most important lane to watch. Where do we need to focus?
Što je način, nisam baš ni siguran.
Definitely a Aphelios versus Lucian.
The analysts are saying Balin. We'll have to see what the casters say.
Ne volim Lisina. Jako ne volim Lisina u kompetitivu.
Between KC and GX.
Screw bot lane. Let's look anywhere else on the map.
No, I agree with them, just to be clear.
And it's a tough one, right? Because like with Giant X, you've gone for an Aphelios Melio bot lane into a very oppressive lane where you're one game away from exiting the LEC playoffs. I mean, it's a tough matchup, and we're gonna have to see if they can try and pull it out of the bag here.
I mean, for GX, this is a rematch of the LEC versus I don't know what the round is called, but from LEC versus it was a 3-0 in Badalona, and they would like the outcome to be different this time. They would like to showcase that. I mean, they already proved all the doubters wrong, because I remember the conversation last split was they didn't deserve to be in top 4 because they didn't play against Vitality. Well, this time they played against Vitality, they 3-0'd them, and they very much have locked that top 4 spot.
Whereas if you're KC, this is reminding yourself of 2025 spring, where you actually ran the bot lane at the bottom of the bracket right up into finals and won as well to pick up that title. So I think for KC, they're really hoping they can keep that trend alive.
Yeah, for clarification on what it was in Versus, by the way, it was also round 3, because remember, we had the extra round because we had top 8 teams going through out of 12. So yeah, it was a 3-0 against GX, and then they had to face MKOI. They went 3-2 versus MKOI, got into the finals, and lost Game 5 against G2. That was Versus that sent G2 to first.
Ja sam jako anti-Lisin što se tiče drafta u Lecu, ali više što mislim da većina Lec junglera ne mogu da igraju Lisina dobro. I da niko, mislim da nijedna Lec ekipa nije dovoljno clean da kažem da će Lisin biti dobar za njih tu. Jer ti da bi izvukao Lisina kako treba, moraš igraš jako čiste religije. Ili da budeš kickbot kasnije, ali kao, ako si pikao Lisina ti bude kickbot. Nešto jako loše prošlo u tom draftu. Hvala. Ne. Hvala. Duro, naravno, vidi. Drugo je Peanut, brate. Drugo je LCK LPL. Znači, to je, što se mene tiče, skroz okej.
But yeah, it's not the most impressive win rate. But Lee Sin did receive some pretty significant buffs.
Nebitno je, Lee Sin kao Lee Sin radi isto.
Many pro players have very much enjoyed.
Kao, buffovali su ga, jesu, jačije jeste, ali i dalje mislim da Lee Sin pati od istih problema u smislu kompetitiva. U solo queue je naravno totalno drugačiji heroj, ali u solo queue ti pikaš Katarinu i Rengara i Šaka. Kao shielda se kada baci safeguard na ward. Okay.
If you time it right, you can interrupt the Lee Sin Q and just like tanks into Lee Sin can sometimes be a pain, but again, the playmaking potential of Lee Sin is unrivaled. It is a jungler that has a ton of individual agency and can do all sorts of things. So we'll see what Yike can pull off on the pick.
Meanwhile, Isma looks like he's safeguarding. As speaking of safeguarding, might need some help on the bottom lane. Look for the Gravitum onto Kallis first, looking for Busio. Drops that Q down. Noah a little bit low on mana as his Infernum is used to clear the wave. Casey again, third game in a row, by the way, where their 2v2 naturally is getting pushed out by Noah and Jun.
Yeah, the Infernum very good at helping to push that one out. Isma though, looking for potential gank on the bottom lane. There's no heal, but the cleanse and both flashes available.
Okay, Arctic Assault. No. The Shadows for now opens up for the first play to the game.
Yike is on his way. He will be spotted.
Fair, dobro.
GX got what they wanted.
Ali da, mislim, kažem, ne znam stvarno. Nije ne verujem Lee Sinovima. Vidjet ćemo, kažem, mislim, možda on i odigra dobro.
Like, obviously, Lee Sin considered a strong early game jungler, but Sejuani actually beats him in the 1v1 early, so that's why you see, like, Yike having to kind of forgo that bot side play and moving towards that top side, and then Isma being able to put that pressure on the bottom lane. So overall, just nice play by Janex.
Twin Fangs come out. Good damage here, trying to get the egg nice and early out of Yahoo as well. And remember as well, I mean, Dagda, I love that you bring up the early game point because of Fury of the North as well with Aftershock. I mean, that bonus buff that you get before losing it, before it falling off, stacks with the Aftershock, and that's a big reason why a lot of junglers have been taking it for a century now.
It's also why we saw Trundle ban.
yes, that too. As that buffs air flash. Oh, he does a bash. That did connect, didn't it? I'm not lying.
Yeah, it definitely connected.
That's the buffer thing.
Ends up being a trade of flashes. Jackie's definitely tried to do some tech there.
Yeah.
I don't know the tech, so
you can, if you're walking away as Cassiopeia, you can ult the other direction and then flash, and the ult will still go off, but it hides which direction you're facing.
True.
And basically he was hoping that Yahoo would step up, try and get the minion, and he would catch him off guard, but didn't quite get it. There was actually Icon used to do a lot in the LPL, and he would mess it up a little bit as well. So
mnogo ti Mato zavisi od toga na kom nivou igraš. Tako da zato kažem LEC i specifično govorim LEC, zašto je LEC jako specifičan kako funkcioniše. I tempo partije u LEC-u i sve ostalo je baš drugačije.
KC finding first dragon of the game, and I think the most important part to realize is that Noah and Jun have had priority in this lane, but KC obviously got some reprieve with, I believe, a reset. And we're able to walk out, pick up first dragon of the game.
So once again, a slow and steady start for both these teams. No crazy aggression coming out from either side. No insane early ganks outside of the early pressure that Isma was able to put down in the bot lane 2 versus 2. And Jackie's just kind of winning out on the lane. We've seen this now from Cassio pretty consistently. I feel like she just doesn't lose any lanes to anyone right now. She's always, her biggest weakness is mana, in that early on she has to trade a lot of mana in order to actually be aggressive. But once she gets tier...
Assault like a prison connects, perfectly done, but the Crystallize, before he gets stunned up, Yahoo, that was gorgeous. He stops, Jackie's on the follow-up in his final breath.
Well played there by Yahoo. Of course, he didn't have his flash available, so he was very prone to a gank. So you can see that Isma doing his best to be proactive on the map, not quite converting it into any successful ganks so far, but at the very least putting pressure down onto the KC laners early on.
Yeah, especially when you didn't have that flash. As you say, you kind of want to try and double down on it, but not going to do so. As Noah trading really well now.
Crescendo, he got that all pressing set from Q as Kanon's going to ulti in. Meanwhile, Decimating Smash catches out before the jousting can go off from Lottie, gets off the bike, and now he's in a lot of trouble. Yike should have this in the bag. Kill going over to Lee Sin with a Sonic Wave, and first blood to Yike.
Nice gank by Yike, using that Dragon's Rage to keep locked up and make sure that they can pick up the kill. Even Kana giving that kill across the Yike can really help snowball this Lee Sin.
Love the trading that we're seeing from the GX bot lane as well, though. Continuing to build a lead in the straight-up 2 versus 2. a lot of their focus going down onto Busio. But Isma using this time to steal away the Raptors. Will he be able to get it?
Safeguard in. Smite does go down. Isma does steal it away.
Yike did in fact smite Isma. So that does make it harder to steal away your own Raptors.
You don't hit the minions, so you don't get them.
Yes, exactly.
That's a good breakdown. Thank you, Betty.
It did show who's in charge, though.
It does. Let him know.
You're just a cap to me.
Have him.
I mean, it is funny. Lee Sin is blind, so maybe the smite missed.
Perhaps he was role-playing.
He was. Too deep in the character. Yike missing out on a bit of a camp. Won't really mend that gold lead on Isma's way. Crystallize turns into Petrifying Gaze. Mega fire kick. Remember, he still has egg, but the damage from Jackie's is immense.
Baš je spor game. Opet. Yahoo! Stvarno, mislim, igra... Ima Eggform, tako da i dalje je fajn. Ne može da padne ovdje toliko lako.
The Noxious Blast didn't actually connect there from Jackie's at the very end, and that he didn't quite have the damage needed to tick him
1-0 KC, solidan start.
Yeah, nice gank from Jun with the run towards mid lane, but Yehu able to find that outplay and walks away without losing anything.
This means it's just Giant X now shifting up towards Void Grubs, managing to take those. And I'm curious now, because that's a lot of pressure that Giant X have continuously put in towards this mid lane that hasn't really netted them anything. Like, you can see what the game plan is. Like, you do have at least a little bit of a CS lead for Jackie's, but not been able to break Yehu's passive or really do much until, I was about to say, his flash comes back up, but he's playing up with fire a little bit here.
Ice versus Ice. Remember last time Isma threw out the ulti and couldn't convert because the Crystallize from Yehu was pretty clean. And I mean, even though Yehu is down on CS, he's had a lot of attention this game, and he has withstood all of it so far. Seeing at 0 deaths as we go to the top lane. Bear trap on a rope after a bit of jousting from Lot. You're going to dismount. He'll shotgun, he'll auto, he'll get back
Mislim da je Poppy decent kao counter pick. Ako baš uzimaš Poppy da da counteraš dash kompove, fajn je.
The only real change that we've seen in the early game has been, you know, KC at least with a little goldie, but also getting that early dragon. Like, so far this game, it has been Giant X securing all those early objectives. But KC, thanks to Lee Sin, able to at least get the first one, but we're not really getting as much of the early pressure you'd expect out of this bottom lane to enable that. So I'm curious now what happens with this next dragon in 50 seconds.
Well, resets are going to come through. Gold will be spent. I don't know if we're at the point yet where items will be finished. I think we're still in that component stage. As the gold income is still relatively low, so it looks like nothing's going to be completed just yet. Plate, though, on the horizon for Jackie's. Nope, not enough. Plate in the top lane, though, so Lot winning there. Resets will need to come through from both top laners. They do have teleports available. Will this be a massive dragon brawl, or will this simply be a kind-hearted exchange? Only time will tell.
Yes, it will. This time has to increase in League of Legends. It's 11 minutes in.
I don't think time increases, Jake.
I mean, it does. Technically, it goes up, as in...
I think it moves forward.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be an increase?
No.
No. Okay, do you think if you walk forward, have you increased or decreased
I've
at all?
increased my steps forward, yes.
Okay, the number of steps has, sure.
Yeah,
but what's that got to do with time?
But I've also increased my distance. Vedius,
well, we're out of time.
Yeah, you need to stay on track. Petrifying Gaze, Yike walks away. And now with the ulti from Kana, it layers down on Jackie's two-man decimating smash. Kana at the front line, the kick Dragon's right for the disengage. Yike doesn't get the job done. Lot is in the background with a jousting, a bear trap into 5. He's going to dismount, running back, wants to remount, but a culling in his face is an execution. Giant X got caught out, and it was Jackie's with the attempt to stop time.
Jackie's keeps trying to make the plays, but unfortunately, they're just not quite working out for him. KC, they backstep until they just mow over Giant X in the fight.
So we look back, and it is Jackie's with the flash ulti. Nice effort, good reaction there from Yike with a quick turnaround. But even if he had connected, it only would have been onto one person. A good kick away comes through from Yike to separate Noah from the pack. An even better ultimate comes through from Buso in that choke point, connecting onto 3. Lot is then isolated as the rest of GX.
Mislim su Giantsi blago doomed.
Dropping as Kallis picks up a kill.
I just we're lucky.
Now just lock in.
Yep. We'll say it's a good catch on the Buso there.
Mislim da eventualno debije, ne znam, i da je preemptively pikuješ i dalje, mislim da nije toliko dobra. Jer imaš previše range, tipa, mislim možda igraš range 2 Arusa, ali tako nešto u nju i samo da je stompaš, da prolaziš kroz nje Stenkines, iako hoće counteraš Vayne, ima range top lanera koji rade u nju, tako da nemam pojma. Na poziciji supporta opet nije toliko idealno, jedino ako baš protivnička ekipa igra puno dash heroja, pa kao hoćeš da ih counteraš, okej. Da kažeš kao u redu, hoćeš da im preemptively ono, ukloniš nekoliko dash heroja pa ih counteraš s popi. Pa si spreman da izgubiš neki deo mape zbog toga, ali...
Noah gets out, he has to burn his flash as well. An attempt from Giant X, while an outplay masterclass in the mid lane.
It's starting to feel desperate for GX as Yike turns his attention to top lane.
No charge available. Decimating Smash catches out mid. Shotgun. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught. Lots caught midway. The shotgun won't buffer. And Yike under turret sends him down. KC are running Giant X into the ground.
A solo kill in mid lane, a gank in the top lane. They get Noah's flash in the bot lane. Things are quickly falling apart here for GX in the early game.
Yeah, KC are very quickly taking over this game. As yeah, there's just not much that Giant X can, like, they've been able to find as an answer. Isma now in the bottom lane. But even then, Kalista has flash, cleanse, and Noah's very low. I don't know if you really want to commit to this.
I think Isma's been doing his best wherever he can. He's been trying to find ganks.
Oh, got him.
Oh, he'll find another.
Buzio, you're right. Maybe for the ulti as well. Permafrost comes out first. Ulti at melee range. Aquafrost flushed away from Buzio. Gets out over the wall. Make a fire kick. Well, not going to reach. Isma the counterplay with a sonic wave from Yike. He's in trouble.
Flash će Isma, ima i damage iza njega.
They can't get a foot in the right direction. For the disengage, but when are Giant X going to get a play to work?
There just wasn't.
Mislim, iskreno, malo je unlucky za Giants serija. Imali su stvarno brda situacija gdje mi se čini kao da mogu da naprave velike play, kao da im baš malo fali, ali jednostavno, kako ja to volim da kažem, unlucky.
It feels like GX are getting more and more desperate.
Yike gets in. And Noah goes down. Right now, they're getting schooled.
Okay, I feel like Yike is earning his Lee Sin pass.
He is.
He queued to a minion, warded over the wall, safeguards into kick. They get the kill onto Noah, and remember that Noah burnt his flash bot lane.
Sad bih volio da vidim Jajka koji igra u tipa G2 ili na MSI-u da igra Lee Sina.
15 minutes into game 3.
It's looking like a repeat of versus. It's looking like a repeat of Casey's journey in last spring as well. Our top three, it's so funny. We went through this regular season of so much changing of
vraćamo se na isti top 3.
These new heroes. How far can Na'Vi go? What can Giant X do?
Vitality Seed 1. Iznitali ko budale.
I do feel like the story has been a little bit different for Giant X though. Like, I think it's easy to look at what could be the result of
maybe now as well. Inferno Moonlight Vigil. Kana unleashes, flashes forward onto Noah. Kalista can do it too. 3-0 on the Lucian. This Aphelios is not working out.
Really hard for me to praise Giant X after just watching that one.
Sorry, Doug.
Really difficult. But I was just gonna say, I think it's like Giant X have actually like improved across several moments, right? Like Isma and Jackie's, I think, really stepped up this split. I think their mid games have been significantly better. So while like the end result might be the same, I think people would just look and go, they're fourth. I really do think like that doesn't tell the full story of what Giant X have been this split.
I mean, this roster, they wanted to do better than last year, where they found themselves permanently in 5th, and to their credit, they're back-to-back 4th. You know, they just sit outside the top 3. Oh, hang on.
Got to get through the egg first. Yike's coming in to save Petrifying Gaze. Only a slow grounder for now. Over that Miasma, it's a trouble as Isma gets blocked by Yike. The ulti runs into him though. They might have a kill. Safeguard away. They're first in the game. Jackie's flashes over the Flash Frost into the egg, but they need a little bit more. TP for the safeguard.
Ko vidio ako dobiju, brate, ako osvoje LPL, ne bi ja, ne znam, ne bi ja tako lako otpisao. Ne bi ja tako lako otpisao LPL, iskreno. Koga god da pošalju, ne bi ih tako lako otpisao. Pa da ne znam, ajde, mislim, ti više gledaš možda. Možda misliš da nije bitno i to je fair.
Blocks a play, Khalid's getting low. It's Twin Fang up, Twin Fang and Jackie gets the first kill of the game for Giant X. Buzio gets low, there's another one. Lot has an angle, he sets it up, he's kicked on back as GX with 5 had the numbers, and into Kana, they will be slowed down to get the next kill, but they've opened up their chance.
Da, a vidi, ima iskustva, ali realno koliko jajk čokuje na internationalima. Koliko realno jajk čokuje na internationalima.
To prevent any sneaky steal coming through from Yike. But it starts with a bot lane play that converts into this attack. I had to laugh here because it looks so awkward for the Kled going miles away from the engage, but they did create a successful collapse. Kalist has nowhere left to go. He doesn't have his flash available, and that means that Jackies can shut him down. A nice injection of gold for him. They take out Busio as well. A kick is not enough to help escort the bot lane to safety. And so KC end up falling short. Lot will secure 500 assists here in the LEC. Congratulations to him. And GX have shown a sign of life here in Game 3.
Much more can they get? Let's track what they actually took from the last fight. I think it was Yike with his flash, if anything. However, it doesn't feel like that was much more, but a bit of gold. Dragon stacking stopped. And, you know, positives again. It has been hard in this series to really bring out the positives, but this feels like since Game 1, this has been the biggest one.
To be fair, the team has gotten both the first 2 dragons in both games so far, has lost the game. So maybe that's all the GX are playing for, you know? Okay. Maybe they just kind of hold on and hope to punish some of the stakes, because that was an overextension from KC, right? Like, they overplayed their hand on bottom lane, and then they
kažem ti. I što način, ono što je meni jako specifično kod Jajka u internationalima je što kada mu neki international ne ide određeni pik, on ga forsi dalje. I to nikad neću razumeti kod Jajka. Znači, oni first hand, brate, mili svaku seriju forsirao vaj, svaki put igra vaj izgubio game. Pa bro, ako si 3 put izgubio game na vaj i vidiš da ne ide, i to kao, vidi, taj first hand su bili drugi. Znači, njegov vaj je razlog poraza. Znaš, nije ni kao on igrao dobro online, ne, bukvalno, znači, on i njegova vaj su izgubili game KC-u 3 put. Kao, mislim, vidi. Poku igre Kaziksa, brate, mili, ide ti, kao, znaš, ne. Da li su vežbali svaj, da li su skrimovali, pa su u fazonu mi to želimo, ali brate mili, ono, mislim da nakon dovoljno poraza kažeš, brate, ok, očigledno ne ide, šta da radimo, čao, brate, ne znam. Ne ide, te bože moj, nije smak sveta. Ali oni jako preferiraju da overforsiraju stvari, ne znam. Možda nije ni Jajk kriv, coaching staff hoće šta hoće.
Isma needs to get in position. Does he get the ward down? It was kind of slow.
Arctic Assault 3K. He's slowed down. Yike kicks him out, jumps back in. Still, Isma had a chance.
Dobro.
Good effort. Nice try, but it's not enough. Baron goes down to Carmine Core. The flight decimating smash out of range. GX still with the tail between the legs as Lot will run in head first. Yike looks for an angle yet again. He went in deep. Safeguards out. This guy is weaving in and out. Dodge like a ball. Jump in like a wrench. Something about the reference from dodgeball. I'm sure Yike listened to it before this game.
The dodge look, dip dive and dodge was exactly what Yike was going for, and I think really showcasing the changes to the safeguard on the Lee Sin, the fact that he could hop with the 7-second cooldown across all of these different wards really worked out well from there, because it looked a little dicey. But yeah, Patches McAdams would be proud of that one.
That fight was close. The fact that Isma got into the pit, you're right, Hysterics, that was a chance for Isma, a very close one that Casey will snuff out. They'll extend the gold lead ever so slightly, but now the siege has to begin. The wave clear from GX is not too bad once Jackies returns to the lane. And you've got to remember that Lucian doesn't have the longest of range. He's got to rely on that dash to be able to hit out these towers, but he takes a chunk back from the GX side.
They are defending well for a team that's down. Petrifying Gates, flash in. Kalist gets out though before the miasma. Kind of really the only one caught. Buso sends out the tidal wave. GX with 4. Remember, KC are holding their own with 3. That's the advantage here. They've got an Nivea top lane, decimating smash onto Isma, enables Kalist, and with the culling as well after the Aqua Prison, it's great. Unstoppable onslaught again, all into Isma, but they turn it around with the Glacial Prison. Jackies runs into 3, though his team's left him. I don't know if that was the play. Sun setting up with with Yahoo coming in for the flank up from the top lane. Isma also falls. However far Giant X think they can go. KC end their chances there.
Jackie's had nowhere left to run. Yike was behind. He'd already invested the flash. There was nothing in the tank. He tries to take one with them and lost. Still fishing here for Yeti.
Over the crystallize. X still up and available, but in 1v1 this should be fine. Flash Frost though. Lock's gonna flash over the wall. Flash match by Yahoo. Away from the bear trap on a rope. Getting him out of Kled is the biggest challenge, I would say, as Kliss is running forward. He's gonna take him off.
Ne znam, mislim, fora što se i Kana raspada, svi se raspadaju. Ne znam, baš je jako čudno ako mene pitate.
This Baron power play has still been mega successful.
GX are just desperate for anything at this point. They'll take any kill, they'll take any scrap, and KC will simply not give it to them. GX 4 versus 3, think they can get something. The first bubble from Busio is good. His positioning is far back, offering what support he can. A clutch heal to keep Kana alive. And then the second bubble onto the Casio once again means that KC can outplay, out-navigate, and they end up finding the kills they need to stop the re-engage from GX.
I do think, though, we're seeing a similar story to game number 1, where Jackie's is kind of putting this pressure on himself to make plays that don't feel necessary. You had Isma standing right beside you, and instead of looking for that non-committal engage with that Sejuani, you then invest the ultimate, and now you're down a flash. Yahoo's playing really well around us, and may actually look for a little bit more here against
Jackie's in so much trouble if a Flash Frost connects. Wait for the frostbite damage. Kana also coming down. Jackie's run out of steam with his ulti down and no flash to save him if a mistake occurs. KC with their siege won't have Baron. They're adding pressure in so they can take everything else on the map.
KC will suffocate GX out of this game, strip them of their farm, take away all of the camps, and just deny as much gold as possible while extending their own lead. Another tower going to go the way of KC. No Baron for 2 minutes. Will that be enough to stop the siege? It looks like for now it won't be.
Bird sits on the Asma. Jackie's crystallized, no escape, Kana.
Ma kakvio ne prima damage, oni su previše ahead. Ne, baš ne mogu ništa da urade iskreno.
KC have got 5. They're going to end this series before it's even truly begun.
A nice pick from KC will take Jackie's out of the fight. Isma will quickly follow, and with 5 members strong, they have a wave in bot. The TP will come through from Kana as they look to close out this series.
3 versus 5. Nexus turrets in their eyes. Yike jumps forward. Lot sending it in before it is the final death knell for Giant.
Dobro, ne možemo da kažemo da nisu probali. Mislim, realno očekivano ekipa KC-a napreduje dalje. I sad je ostalo jako malo prostora koji je iskreno izborio 5 gameova protiv G2-a, protiv KC-a, da vidimo ko ulazi u finale sa G2-om, ali eto, KC dosta dominantno, Giantsi se ne daju, ali Boga mi, jel mogu završiti ovdje? Kalista full health. Možda ne mogu, a jao. Nije gotovo dok nije gotovo. Šalio sam se, ljudi moji. Vraćaju ga Giantsi.
It only feels like a quick pit stop though for KC, as now they just get to go back onto the map with a Baron in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I imagine that with the gold that they've accrued, they've got a lot of money to spend. It starts with this wall from Yahoo. Nicely isolates Jackie's, he gets melted. Isma then doing his best to peel for his mid laner, but that results in his own demise. Kana tanks the entire tower as KC looks to farm GX members over and over. 14 kills to 2. The Baron spawning in 3 seconds. It's a last-ditch effort coming through from GX as they will try to steal that one away, or maybe they won't. They'll just turn their attention to mids.
Onslaught again onto Jackie's, not going to reach. The smite comes in regardless, though. Miasma slows down the play. Isma gets targeted as well. Meanwhile, Locke got a turret. A lot better than a couple of seconds ago when we felt like the game was ending. As it's still over 10,000 gold. Mid's going to fall down. Locke's going to stick around as he runs back. Yahoo has TP to join the play. Inhibitor the next target. Giant X still holding their ground. Isma's getting shredded.
Lots on the flank here. He can actually try and come in behind them. There's no wars to spot him out.
Decimating smash, Breath of Light to get them out from the culling. Jackie's gets tagged heavily. Yike looks for an angle. Glacial Prison set into Kana. There we go. Lots running in. The final sweep, but unlike the Rohirrim, Lot will be on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift. He drops with a double decimating smash from Kana, continuing the play, while the Snake is dead again. Left with 3 once more. It's not into the breach, dear friends. It is into the grave. Isma flushing in a straight line will save him to no avail. And while we have the MKOI rematch, we have KC versus the Spaniards for a battle of MSI.
Da, i eto, ono što sam rekao, samo 2 minuta kasnije, jako lepo odigrano od strane KC-a, iako kažem, imali su svojih problema, nije baš bilo optimalno, ali bilo kako bilo, ekipa KC-a uzima seriju i, kao što smo rekli, u subotu, faktički polufinale, kako god ćete zovete, predzadnji dan LEC-a kreće, tako da gledat ćemo KC i KOI, a nakon toga, naravno, veliko finale u nedelju G2 protiv pobednika jedne od te dve ekipe. Tako da, postavit ću intervju, verovatno posle Gasi mi se vidimo večeras na solo queue streamu, a do tada veliki pozdrav i vidimo se kasnije.
This looks like it could be a dramatic end to the split.
Well, an LEC versus, it went the full 5 games. We'll see if we end up seeing that once again. GX will end their spring split in 4th place. I think higher than many people expected after the regular season that they had. Let's see if their growth can continue, but right now they're just not enough to break into the top 3.
It does feel like, again, you know, we've used gatekeepers a lot. They've gone a little bit above that, especially when we talk about playoffs. But with Vitality out of the story, it does feel like that top 3 is a bubble of its own right that is hard to breach into.
I mean, the truth is, when I saw them keeping this roster for the beginning of this year, I had low expectations. I thought that they wouldn't really be able to build up much of what they'd already started, but it's clear that they have. I think that individually, Jackies and Isma had a fantastic split, and I think that they've become very... they've closed that gap, they just haven't closed it enough.
And there's one name you've missed out as well. Lot had a pretty good split, I will say.
Sure.
Top 4 top laners, someone said in our story meetings at the start of this split.
Okay.
And he ended number 4.